Gillette Soccer Saturday. Brought to you by Gillette Fusion Power Stealth.
Welcome back. Big day today, of course, as well as Premier League and Championship and SPL action, FA Cup and Scottish Cup today. Already today we've seen a 1-1 draw between Wolves and Birmingham City, so Wolves maintain their 6-point gap at the top. Carlisle are through to the second round of the FA Cup. They won at Grays by 2-0. Half-time at Highbury, that's the home of Fleetwood Town. It's Fleetwood Town 1, Hartlepool 1, and in Scotland, big win for Hearts. They've won 5 in a row now. They've beaten Rangers by 2-1. Rangers 4-point adrift to Celtic, and they have now played one more game. With us today, Charlie Nicholas, Phil Thompson, Paul Merson, and Matt Letitia. Matt, who's back from doing some good last night, weren't you?
Yeah, my mate's pub in Kent last night, Jeff, Fighting Cocks. We were raising money for cystic fibrosis, and the lad said if I mentioned the pub on the show that everyone in there would make a donation. So all the lads in the Fighting Cocks, get your money out. Good job I didn't get that sentence the wrong way around.
Yes, absolutely. Mentioned it twice as well, so it's going to cost you twice as much. Big day today for Brad Friedel. Congratulations for him. He starts for Aston Villa. He's setting a new Premier League record of 167 consecutive appearances. Not all for Villa, of course, thereby beating the previous record held by David James. Talking of Aston Villa, it's the very early stages. Let's see how Villa have set themselves out today against Fulham. No John Carew once again. Is that the case, Charlie?
Back problem, Jeff, and obviously Real Coker. He's got the flu, so he's out. So Quaylar comes in at right back. Davis will go into the centre-back position. It's a little bit awkward for Luke Young because he'll have to go to left back. But it's an open game. Fulham have impressed me recently. And I can go back to you, little cheery chap.
It's all going swimmingly against the Cod Army now. 2 for Michael Mackay. Fleetwood have never beaten a league side. And it's not going to happen today. Rod Studd.
Don't panic, Jeff. Yes, Hartlepool took just a minute at the start of the second half to take the lead for the first time. They've had some edgy moments today, not least Andy Bell's opening goal on 14 minutes for the Cod Army, levelled by Mackay on 17 minutes, and then a spectacular strike from an Anthony Sweeney knockdown a minute into the second half. Danny Wilson's boys in front, 2-1.
Michael Mackay's first ever double. By the way, no James Brown today. In fact, no James Brown for the rest of the season. He's done his cruciate. He does not feel good, I'm afraid, at the moment, but we wish him well. Second time he's done his cruciate, in fact. No goals to tell you about in the early stages of games. Let's go and find out what's happening in the early stages at Wigan, shall we? Wigan against West Brom. Wigan with just those 4 home goals to talk about so far. How have the early minutes begun, Paul?
West Brom have started brilliantly, Jeff. Great run by Morrison. He got the ball on the edge of the box, turned 2 players, got into the box, got to the byline, played it along the 6-yard box, and Miller just couldn't get there in time. It went straight across the goal. But that's the worry for West Brom, Jeff. They have 1 player in the box and they're playing 4-5-1. They've got to get players forward. But good start by West Brom, still 0-0.
Off to the derby at the Riverside. It's Middlesbrough against Newcastle United. Middlesbrough only lost 3 times at home. They don't have a good record against Newcastle in this particular game either. Won just 2 out of 12 of the Premier League meetings against Newcastle at the Riverside. How's it started, Phil?
Yeah, Pogatet's had them really wound up. They had a huddle just before he kicked off, and he seemed to really want to fire his team up. And they've got one chase. Julio Arca's back into the midfield for Gary O'Neill. And there's one change from last week for Newcastle, and that's Damien Duff is back in the side. Damien Duff out of the side, and Zogby is in for him. It's a really good start to this game, Jeff. 2 minutes gone.
Off to the Britannia Stadium. Stoke City have won more home league games than Arsenal or Chelsea against a whole team. We'll give a start to Nicky Barmby today. How's it started, Matt?
Yeah, they do indeed, Jeff. Been going a couple of minutes. It's meant a slight change to the shape of Hull. Marlon King's playing up front on his own. And Barmby and Giovanni are the lads that are going to try and get support to him. But no goal-scoring chances yet in the first couple of minutes.
Sunderland had a very disappointing run, particularly at home recently. They're up against a Bolton Wanderers side. They have won their last 2 away Premier League games, their last best run for a couple of years. Let's get first news of that from Chris Kamara.
Started very well already today, Jeff. They've had 2 corners on the bounce. 1 opportunity for Kevin Davies. He couldn't really get much contact on the ball when it came across, and it skimmed off his head, and it was a goal kick. But they're very well organised, as you would expect. This Bolton side very tight at the back. Every time Sunderland play the ball forward, they all push forward. No opportunities for Sunderland so far. It's Bolton who are on top, 0-0.
pretty good 11 minutes for the New Saints, you'd have to say, wouldn't you? Kossuth 0, the New Saints 1, the New Saints 2, the New Saints 3, the New Saints 4 after just 23 minutes of that game. I don't think there's been such a dramatic start in the game at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, where we're here, Colin Calderwood is under pressure inside the bottom of the Championship at the moment. They're up against Barnsley today. Some people are predicting it's the last chance for Colin Calderwood. Let's see how it's begun. Here's Alan McAnally.
You'd have thought I was a Grim Reaper when I arrived here, Jeff, because I don't spend a lot of time at the City Ground, but because they thought that Sky was coming here today, they presumed that it was because Colin was going to get the sack. It's not the case. A lot of people have been saying they've been playing good football, can't score goals. 13 points and a goal difference of -13, Jeff, tells you all you want to know. And Barnsley have started it better. Jamal Campbell-Rice from distance from 30 yards and a great save from Lee Camp. There is a lot on for Forest today. 0-0.
Not so much the Grim Reaper, just grim, really. No goals in that one. Brendan Rodgers, first game officially in charge of Watford today, former Chelsea reserve team manager. He's the new man in control at Vicarage Road. Let's see how Watford have begun against Doncaster Rovers. Here's Scott Minto.
3.5 minutes gone, Jeff. No side, no Doncaster nor Watford have actually created the chances yet. But Liam Bridcut, who was on loan from Chelsea, of course, he's playing in that holding midfield position. Brendan Rodgers knows him very, very well. He's brought him in. Harry Redknapp is also here in the stands. He's here to support Frank Lampard Senior, who's a football consultant for the club now. So no chances as yet. Still 0-0.
And of course, Watford also play Spurs in the Carling Cup next Wednesday game. You can see live on Sky Sports. Let's go and see what's happening at Portman Road. Ipswich unbeaten in the last 7 home games against Sheffield United side who've won their last 2 away games, so 2 sides in decent form. First news from Tony Coddy.
Well, Sheffield United certainly started better, Jeff. Just had the first shot on the match here, just watching the replay. Billy Sharp it is. Poor defending from Ipswich. He gets the volley in. It's a good stop from Richard Wright. Greg Halford also launches one into the box, bobbling around again. Again, Billy Sharp nearly got on the end of it. Early days, Jeff, 0-0.
Billy Sharp hasn't scored in his last 10 games now. He needs a goal or 2, doesn't he, at the moment. Let's go and see what's happening in the game at the JJB. West Brom started really, really brightly. Are they still looking bright, Paul?
No, Wigan are now, Jeff. They've had a good 2 minutes. It was a corner just now for Wigan, whipped in, and Figaro just wide, he was just wide with his header, but it's a long throw now by Wigan. It's still 0-0 and they've got another corner.
No goals in that one, but you may just have thought somewhere that you saw a scoreline coming in from Turf Moor. Well, it wasn't a figment of your imagination because there has been a goal. Let's hear how Burnley have taken the lead. Here's Rob Palmer.
Yeah, it's been a lively game and Burnley have deservedly taken the lead. They've been pinning Derby back. Got a couple of corner kicks, one from the left-hand side. Came out to young Kelly MacDonald, who volleyed in from the edge of the area. His first goal of the season. I think he's the 14th scorer for Burnley. It's 1-0.
Yeah, it's his first goal for Burnley. Paul Jewell celebrating a year in charge of Derby. Says it's the toughest year of his career. Big shout from Paul Merson. What happened, Paul?
What an opportunity for Wigan, Jeff. The corner that I just talked about got whipped in by Taylor. It was flicked on at the near post by Bramborn. At the far post was Camera, outstretched 4 yards out, and he's bloomed it over the bar. If he hits the target, he scores. Big chance, big miss. Still 0-0.
Very murky Britannia Stadium indeed, where Stoke are playing Hull. Have Stoke had any chance to send any of those long throws so far, Matt?
No throws so far. We've just had a free kick which Danny Higginbottom has thrown into the box, but it's been cleared for a corner. But the free kick was actually awarded. Michael Turner very fortunate not to get away, or to get away with not getting a yellow card. Very high tackle on Sidibe. The ball was kind of bouncing up. Sidibe got to it first, and Turner's boot followed through into Sidibe's hip. But referee Keith Stroud decided early on in the game, and he's let him off.
Okay, thanks very much indeed. The last 3 minutes of those sides, by the way, finished 1-1. Newcastle United, their away form still a cause for concern, despite that goalless draw at Chelsea. It's 1 win in 18 away Premier League games now, and none in the last 10. Have they showed any attacking intent at the Riverside yet, Phil?
Not much. If anything, Middlesbrough look as though they take the lead. Just had the first effort by Alves. He's just dragged it wide. I think it took a bit of deflection as a corner kick. But the pace of Ali Adier on the right and Downing on the left is always causing Newcastle problems at this early stage. 0-0.
Off to Aston Villa. Villa sitting 9 points behind Chelsea at the moment, but they are in 4th place in the table. Do they pose much threat to Fulham yet, Charlie?
Nothing, Jeff. Haven't really looked like getting going at all. You know, with the wide men and Milner and Ashley Young, not really had much supply. Only one attempt for Ashley Young to get a quick cross in, and he hit the first defender for a corner, and that just drifted to nothing. But Fulham actually keeping the ball better, good ball retention, not really threatening. They're just waiting on Johnson to make the moves. He's stretching, he's done it again. He just runs off at that angle, gives an option to his midfield player, and just wins possession high up the pitch. Fulham have started the better of the two teams, but no real action front of goal, goalless.
incredibly quiet start up and down the country, isn't it? Let's see if that's still the case at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland, well, only 12 home goals, only 12 goals this season, I beg your pardon. And only one side, West Bromwich Albion, has scored fewer than that. I wonder if Kenwyne Jones or Jibril Cisse have threatened yet. Here's Chris Kamara.
No, not too many chances, Jeff. It's one for the purists, this, if you're a Sunderland fan, because Roy Keane said in his programme notes that we played the ball too long last weekend up towards Kenwyne Jones and Jibril Cisse. So today, he wants them to play, and I'm telling you now, Jeff, they are passing that ball around for fun. They're keeping it on the ground, they're going to what their manager said, and they're trying to carve Bolton up by passing the ball all day long. Well, it's getting them to the last third of the pitch, but that's about all at the moment, 0-0.
Neil Warnock, the Crystal Palace manager, is 60 on Monday. Hard to imagine that, isn't it? Doesn't look anything like that old. Side's in pretty good form. They've won 3 of the last 4. They're up against Queen's Park Rangers today, managed by Paulo Sousa. Let's see how that's begun. Here's Dickie Davis.
Good lively start as well, Jeff, to the game. Palace have had 2 half chances. Craig Beattie shot straight into Cherney. Paul Eiffel hit the bar, but in fairness, Beattie had already been given offside. At the other end, Patrick Adjemang for QPR, fisting a great ball. And I think it was Takamini just trying to come into it, just slid wide of the far post. Still 0-0.
Let's go back to Highbury, the home of Fleetwood Town, and that's the reason why. Here's Rod Studd.
Yeah, any hopes of an upset, I think, been sunk now. Joel Porter's 12th goal of the season, a simple one too from Anthony Sweeney's cross, 2 from Mackay by Hartlepool, who remember trailed 1-0 after 14 minutes, but now in complete command. 3-1 to Hartlepool, 56 on the clock.
Joel Porter's 12th goal of the season, and the Cod Army knocked off their perch, so to speak, by Hartlepool today. Let's go find out what's happening in the game that Paul Merson is watching. It's Wigan against West Brom. West Brom having started brightly, but Wigan very much coming back into it. Who's got the upper hand, would you say?
Oh, it's definitely Wigan. They're swarming all over him, Jeff, at the moment. They're all over him just as we talk. A good cross in there by Morrison again, but it's cleared. But it's all Wigan. Great bit of play now. Cameron got the ball. He went to play it into Heskey. He got ricocheted back to him. He was in. He didn't choose to shoot. He laid it back. The shot was blocked. But Wigan playing very well all over West Brom at the moment.
Amazingly, Wigan have not won back-to-back Premier League games under Steve Bruce in his year there in the FA Cup. Bit of a shock there. The League Two side, Dagenham and Redbridge, lead, and Leicester, of course, the top of League One. The goals come from Matt Ritchie. It's his 4th goal of the season. They scored 6 last Saturday, of course, against Notts County. He's on loan from Portsmouth. Queen's Park have taken the lead at Albion. There's been a goal in the Premier League game at the Stadium of Light. Which way has it gone, Chris Kamara?
Unbelievable stuff, Jeff. I told you they were playing football, and this is the first time they've created an opportunity doing it, and it was a magnificent goal. Chimbonda gave it to Kieran Richardson. Kieran Richardson threaded a beautiful ball through to Steed Malbranck. Steed Malbranck then threaded an even better ball to Jibril Cisse. Jibril Cisse timed his run to perfection. He's on the right-hand side of the goal. He's then got Jussi Jääskeläinen to beat. He's playing in percentages, Jeff, because he's not got much to play in, and he threads his ball right to the right-hand side of Jussi Jääskeläinen, in off the post, 1-0 to Sunderland.
Thanks very much indeed, Cammy. Jibril Cisse's 6th goal of the season. He's got 4 in his last 6 Premier League start season. Very decent form. President Bolton, by the way, despite their good form, they failed to score in half of their Premier League games this season. Failed to score in 7 out of 14. They need to ensure it doesn't become 8 out of 15, or they're going to sacrifice all 3 points there. Leicester have quickly equalised against Dagenham and Redbridge, so hopes of glory for Dagenham and Redbridge were just brief. And Matty Fryatt, what a season he's having. He scored in the 11th minute. It's his 17th goal of the season, his 8th in the last 9 games for a Leicester side who have been in exceptionally good form. Let's go and hear about 2 sides who've not been in good form. Charlton, of course, parted company with Alan Pardew after last weekend's debacle, the 5-2 home defeat by Sheffield United. They're up against Southampton side, who've actually won their last 2 away games. Good wins as well at Preston and Reading. How's it begun? Here's Johnny Phillips.
Well, Charlton have had the better of the opening stages. Phil Parkinson not scared to make his mark on the team sheet. 3 loan signings, Jay McEverley, Keith Gillespie and Dion Burton all in the side today. And Keith Gillespie's just shot wide from about 18 yards a few moments ago, but the best chance came from a free kick when Hammer Boatza lofted one into the box, and there was the captain Mark Hudson up from the back, but 6 yards out he managed to find the corner flag. So Charlton on top, but it's still 0-0.
East Stelling with the Scottish 3rd Division in great form at the moment. They've won 6 of the last 8 games, scoring bagfuls of goals as well. They lead 1st Division Livingston by a goal to 0. Eddie Forrester's got that goal. Livingston reportedly in all sorts of financial troubles. Apparently their players have been paid now, but the milkman has not and is threatening legal action against Livingston. Let's go and find out what's happening. It was a very, very murky day. I hope this doesn't close in too much more at the Britannia Stadium. Stoke calling the shots at the moment, Matt.
Yes, it's not a great view at the moment, and Fuller just down the right-hand side. First real chance for Stoke. He put it into the box. Amdi Faye couldn't control it properly. The ball got laid out, and Salif Diao, 25, 30 yards out, left foot, he struck it. But it's gone about 5-6 yards wide. Didn't strike it too bad, but first real shot on goal in 14 minutes is not really a thriller.
OK, thanks very much indeed, Matt. Fulham have not won at Villa Park since 1973 in the league. Maybe Villa has it, Charlie, but Fulham got forward at all?
Well, it's not a thriller at Villa. It's pretty subdued, the same as Matt's, but there's a lack of urgency about the Aston Villa side, Jeff. Now, I don't know why, because I think Martin likes to get his team straight out the traps. They've tried to get the ball when they can wide to Ashley Young, understandable, but they've not managed to quite get that fluency or get support to him. And they're defending pretty strongly, Fulham, at the moment. They, again, Milner going down the right-hand side. It's a poor cross, it's away too deep and it goes out. It's just the final ball so far is really poor, and Fulham playing nice and pretty stuff, but not even threatening a goal. Not even a shot to talk about.
Morecambe of League 2 in the FA Cup lead. League 1, Cheltenham. Rennie Howard scored from the penalty spot. It's his 7th goal of the season. He's got 3 in his last 4 as well, and a second goal at Turf Moor. Burnley led Derby by a goal to nil. Remember, Paul Jewell a year in charge this weekend, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a very happy anniversary. Here's Rob Palmer.
No, it's a very unhappy return, or should I say return to this part of the country for Paul Jewell anyway. His team are now losing by 2-0. Sloppy defending, good run down the right-hand side. Ball it came into the Burnley leading scorer, Martin Patterson, who just turned it in expertly near post. 2-0 Burnley.
Oh, he had a bit of a drought, but he got a couple of goals at Barnsley on Monday. He's got another one today, so that's 3 and 2, and he's at double figures for the season. On to 10, and of course, Burnley have got Arsenal coming in the Carling Cup on Tuesday night. It's another game you can see live on Sky Sports. They've only played 15 minutes today, and they already look pretty much in control. Let's see if anybody's in control in the North East derby. It's Middlesbrough against Newcastle. Michael Owen been involved at all yet, Phil?
Hardly done anything, and it's the same for Martins and everything. There's just had a shot from, I think it was Downing with his right foot. But both these teams, it's been pretty poor, Jeff. Nobody's keeping possession of the ball long enough to cause anybody any problems. Certainly in the attacking third, both ends, nothing's happening.
Stenhouse Moors, the leaders of the Scottish Third Division, are in front by a goal to nil. Scott Dalziel with his 8th goal of the season at the Highland League side. Clack not cut in, so Clack not clicked just yet. And Bradford nil, Leyton Orient 1. Bradford, of course, are League 2, where they are flying high. They're second in the table. But Leyton Orient really picked up recently in League 1. They've taken the lead through Jason Demetriou, and they kept 5 consecutive clean sheets before today, so Bradford might have their work cut out to find a way back into that game. Demetriou's 3rd goal of the season, and they've all been away from home. Just 1 goal to tell you about in the Premier League so far. It's come at the Stadium of Light. Gibral Cisse with his 6th of the campaign. They lead Bolton Wanderers by a goal to nil, and only 2 goals to tell you about in the Championship. They both come at Turf Moor, where Burnley lead by 2 goals to nil against Derby County. Kevin McDonald with his 1st goal, and Mark Pedersen with his 10th. It's been a quiet start, but I've got a feeling there's about to be an explosion of goals. We'll be back with them in a couple of minutes.
Another step on the road to Wembley. Can giant killers Burnley take another Premier League scalp? Or will Arsenal's young gunners march on? Tuesday at 7:30. Plus, defending champion Spurs take on Watford. Wednesday at 7. The Carling Cup quarter-final sponsored by Skybet.com. Live only on Sky Sports 1 and HD1.
As the world demands more energy, we need to access the difficult-to-reach oil. Difficult oil requires smarter thinking. Like inventing the snake well drill that can bend to reach the small trapped pockets of oil deep under the sea. To find out how Shell is preparing for the new energy future, visit shell.co.uk. Real energy.
Remember when you said girls had fleas? And you'd never get a computer? Remember when you swore you'd never love anyone else? Or have kids? Remember when you said you'd never buy a Renault? The new Renault Megane. It's time to change.
Not quite an explosion of goals, but certainly a trickle in one of the games in League One today. Walsall have taken the lead against managerless Swindon. Swindon who haven't kept a clean sheet now in 13 away games, and Michael Ricketts is the man who has got that goal. It's his 10th of the season. Airdrie have taken the lead in the Scottish Cup through Joe Cardle after 20 minutes against the Highland League side Cove Rangers. We'll find out what Matt Le Tissier is laughing about in a moment, but first of all, let's go up to the Stadium of Light where you can see, well, Matt Taylor just loves playing against them, doesn't he? And he's done the trick again, Chris Kamara.
Oh, fantastic goal by Matty Taylor, Jeff. Stines is in the right-back position, pretty forward, about in the final third of the pitch, and he's just lofted a high ball into the box. Well, we know Chimbonda can jump like a kangaroo. Well, he was out-kangarooed by Matty Taylor because Matty Taylor's up above him. He's got his header, it's on target. Craig Gordon's jumping as high as he can. He's tried to tip it over the crossbar. He can only tip it underneath the crossbar, bouncing off the bottom of the crossbar. 1-1.
A lot of kangaroos around, aren't there, in the northeast? Not an area which is particularly noted for it. Let's see what Matt Le Tissier was giggling about. He's watching the game between Stoke and Hull. What happened, Matt?
Ball got played back to Bose Myhill, Jeff, and he got closed down by I think it was Sidibe, and Myhill was trying to pass it back to the fullback. He couldn't get the angle to pass it back to him. Normally, the goalkeeper would then just smash the ball up front, but he just turned round towards his own end, and he's booting the ball straight out for a corner. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Fortunately, they cleared the corner, and but you got to see it did tickle me. And a shame the fog is actually lifting, and sadly, I can see everything that's going on now.
The Cod Army have a ray of hope. They've got it back to 2-3. Let's go and hear about it. It's Rod Studd.
Well, Harlequin have had no problem scoring goals this season, as you know, Jeff, but they've conceded far too many, and they've conceded again here to give the non-leaguers a sniff. Adam Waller, a 21-year-old labourer, he is getting the goal that's got Fleetwood back in it halfway through this second half. 3-2 to Harlepool, and still 22 minutes left.
Cod Army reeling Hartlepool in. Goodness me. 3-2 the scoreline there. Back to the Stadium of Light where Sunderland got off to an absolutely flying start, but it has all gone pear-shaped very quickly indeed, Chris Kamara.
Absolutely unbelievable, Jeff. Absolutely magnificent. If I told you if it was a set play, then you wouldn't believe me. Well, you would believe me because it's Bolton. They score most of their goals through set plays. It's taken by Andy O'Brien. He lofts it in the box towards... Hang on a sec, Jeff. Oh, nothing. No, nearly close there for Sunderland. He lobs it in towards Kevin Davis. Kevin Davis doesn't quite win the header. Danny Collins wins the header behind him, but waiting for the bits and pieces is Gary Cahill. He chests it down, gets the ball out of his feet, and he just rifles it, pings it past Craig Gordon. He got a bit of a touch on it, but it went into that back of the net as quick as he left his foot. It's 2-1 to Bolton.
You believe him? I do. Bolton leading by 2-1. They're terrific away from home, aren't they, at the moment? Weymouth lead Mansfield by a goal to nil. Chris McPhee has got that goal. Alan Lewis temporarily in charge at Weymouth, and you can see that Sean Densmore of Altrincham sent off in their game in the conference today at home to Rushden and Diamonds, and this is turning out to be a miserable return to the northwest for Paul Jewell and his Derby side. They were 2-0 down against Burnley, and I think things are taking a turn for the worse. Here's Rob Palmer.
Well, unless you're a Burnley fan, he's taking their turn for the much better. Martin Patterson has scored his second goal of the afternoon, very similar to his first goal of the afternoon. Good run down the right-hand side from Chris Eagles. Perfect ball right at the edge of the 6-yard box between defenders and goalkeeper. That's what Patterson loves them. 2 goals for him, 3-0 to score.
It's his fourth double of the season. He's got 11 in total, 4 in his last 2 as well. Back to Villa Park, where Villa are just beginning to turn the screw a bit, Charlie.
Yeah, they've got Ashley Young now. He's really having a good time. You know, he's taking on Pansel, the right back, Jeff, and he's standing off him. He's not going to squeeze him, and he's got that quality, hasn't he? And he's putting a lovely bending cross. Barry made the run from midfield, only 6 yards out. He was on the stretch a bit, Jeff, but he should have scored. He's put it wide, and again, Ashley Young's just got involved with a good link-up play with Stan Petrov, and he's just skint the full-back for fun again, and it's just Petrov's head has just glanced over the bar. Starting to come alive now, Villa, but no.
Just 2 games taking place in League One today. They've both got goals now. The goal has just come at the Sixfield Stadium when Northampton are playing Colchester United. Let's hear about it. Here's Mike Jones.
Yes, and it was a very simple goal. Dean Hammond took a quick free kick to Mark Yates. We got the return pass, got out wide, put in a centre, and Clive Platt in acres of space rose and headed past the stranded goalkeeper Frank Fielding. Northampton 0, Colchester 1.
It's Clive Platt's 4th goal of the season. They've all been away from home. It's only their 4th goal in 6 games, come after 23 minutes. And up in Scotland in the Scottish Cup, this is round 3, by the way, but the big guns are still not involved just yet. They will be at the next phase. Ross County have taken the lead against Dumbarton. Of course, Ross County are the First Division these days, Dumbarton down in League 3. Sean Higgins has got that as Ross County look for a 3rd consecutive win. Let's go and see what's happening in the game between Wigan and West Bromwich Albion. Wigan woefully short of home goals, just those 4 home goals. Emil Heskey just a couple of goals all season long. Has Heskey shown any sign of adding to that at all today, Paul?
West Brom have been the better team now, Jeff. Great bit of play just now. It was clear. Wigan were on the attack. It was a ball cleared up to the halfway line. Just cleared it. Bounced to the halfway line. Boyce hesitated. Greening gambled. He knocked it past him, and he's away. And all he's got to do is roll it across the box for Miller to tap in, and he chose to shoot, and he shot horribly wide. But a bad mistake, and Tony Mowbray wasn't happy. But still 0-0, but Wigan the better team at the moment.
Morton on a roll at the moment. They've won 5 of the last 6 games. The leader peered ahead by Golden in the Scottish Cup, and Steve Masterson has got that. We talked about Stuart Downing earlier on, didn't we? Being linked with all sorts of clubs once again, and an £11 million price tag. Has he figured it all in that North East derby, Phil?
No, not really. This is a poor game, to be honest. There's nothing going on either end of the pitch. Extremely poor. Having said that, as a defender, you'd have to say both defences are doing extremely well. Colaccini and Bassong, who you think, can they play together? Very, very good indeed. 0-0.
No goals in that one so far. Newcastle, of course, well, they got the goalless draw at Chelsea, didn't they? But they've still let in 36 in 16 away Premier League games. Quite an achievement if they were to keep successive clean sheets away from home. Sunderland absolutely rolling at the moment and reeling. They've lost 5 of the last 6 games. They led against Bolton, but quickly Bolton have turned it around. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. So Sunderland trailed. Do they look shaken, Chris Kamara?
They're still trying to play their football. Great ball in the box just a second ago from Andy Reid. They're still trying to pass it. They've not changed their philosophy. They're not pumping it up towards Kenwyn Jones and Cisse like they did last weekend. They're still trying to pass it around. They've got a chance, an opportunity now. They're putting the pressure on, Jeff. There's a corner. The crowd are getting behind them. They're pushing for that equaliser. Still 2-1 to Bolton.
Forest Green have taken the lead. Forest Green of the conference lost 6 times at home already as well, but they lead Rochdale, who are flying high in League 2 by a goal to none. Jonathan Smith has got that goal, his 5th goal of the season. Rochdale unbeaten in 9 league games, but only 1 away defeat all season long. Let's go and find out what's happening to Nottingham Forest, shall we? Nottingham Forest have had a win in the last 7 home league games, and well, only 7 home league goals to show for their efforts so far this season. They have been a bit shot shy. Any sign of them breaching that Barnsley defence? Alan McAnally.
They've had a shot, Jeff, from Rob Earnshaw, but didn't hit the target. They're pretty lightweight up front. Tyson and Earnshaw not getting a lot of the ball. And to be honest, I don't know what they're trying to do too much. They're running with the ball too much, just with their head down. They're giving the ball away. And as much as some decent football they play, it's miles away from the Barnsley goal. So they can keep it there as long as they want, to be honest. But Barnsley should have taken league. Again, Jamal Rice-Campbell down the right-hand side. A great ball in, and Jonathan Mackin, remember him? Preston, Man City, on loan from Derby. A great chance in between Wes Morgan. Another chance for Derby and for Kevin Wilson, the skipper, and he's 6 yards out, Jeff, and he just doesn't quite make a proper contact. If he had, he'd surely have scored. 0-0.
Paul Reed's got a 2nd goal for Colchester against Northampton. We'll hear about that shortly, but let's go off to the New Lawn, Forest Green. Well, they could cause a bit of an upset in the FA Cup today, couldn't they? A 3rd round tie, of course, awaits the winners. Forest Green in front. Here's Brian Seymour-Smith.
I'll tell you what, Jeff, they thoroughly deserve this lead as well. What a great move it was by Paul Stonehouse on the right-hand side. Sent the ball low right across the face of the goal mouth. There was a standover by Josh Lowe, and then suddenly there was Smith running in, right foot to simply knock it straight past the goalkeeper. They deserve this. Forest Green 1, Rochdale 0.
And a surprise on the cards as well at the Walker Stadium. Look at that scoreline. Leicester 1, Dagenham and Redbridge in front for the 2nd time, and Ben Strevens has got his 9th goal of the season. Let's go and hear about Colchester's second at Northampton. Northampton, who've only lost 2 of the last 22 home league games, but they're banging trouble today. Mike Jones.
Yeah, shaky at the back. This one came from a corner, which was won by Mark Yates. Johnny Jackson put it across, and Paul Reed against his old side headed in. It's Northampton 0, Colchester 2.
He scored his first goal for Colchester against his former club as well. Let's go and see what's happening with Watford against Doncaster Rovers. Watford, would you believe, they scored 29 goals this season. Only Reading and Wolves have managed more than that, yet they're sitting 4th from bottom of the table. They're up against a Doncaster side who can't score for love nor money. Who looks the likeliest at the moment? Scott Minto.
Well, believe it or not, Jeff, it's Doncaster. They've probably gone closest. Richie Wellens has just hit the post about 10 minutes ago. Not seen enough of Watford going forward. Lee Williamson had a free kick deflected. Neil Sullivan in the Doncaster goal has not had a shot to save at the moment. Still 0-0.
Off to the Valley, Charlton managerless at the moment. They have the joint poorest defence in the Championship. 33 goals conceded up against the Southampton side, who should be brimful of confidence after their win away from home at Reading last week. Does Southampton look confident, Johnny?
Well, no, not really. You mentioned Charlton's defence there, and they've had nothing to do, really. Southampton just can't get their passing game together. Charlton, on the other hand, are testing Kelvin Davis in the Saints' goal, and the best chance they had came about 5 minutes ago when Davis dropped a cross into the box, and it eventually found its way to the edge of the box, and there was Hamaguatsu with a rasping drive, which is tipped round for a corner, but it's still 0-0.
Scott Chaplin scored for Partick Thistle against Sterling Albion, and Roy Keane must wonder when his luck is going to change. Chris Kamara.
Oh, absolutely, Jeff. What a cross it was a minute ago, right onto the head of Kenwyne Jones. He's thumped it with his head. He's up and above J. Lloyd Samuel, head and shoulders above him. But the assistant on the far side has flagged for a foul, would you believe? So it bounces back off the crossbar, about 10 yards out to the feet of Jibril Cisse, and he's pinged it into the bottom corner. He's run away to celebrate, but that assistant still got that flag in the air. Still 2-1 to Bolton.
Pretty bewildering decision, it has to be said, when you see it. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it whatsoever. Stenhousemuir have got a second at Clacknacudden, and Scott DL has got both of them. He's got 9 for the season, having a very good season indeed. And Millwall have taken the lead in the FA Cup against Aldershot. Millwall, of course, who are in League One side this season. Aldershot down in League Two, and Millwall going particularly well at home. They've got the best home record in League One. They're in front with a goal from Gary Alexander. Leicester are back on level terms in what seems a really good game at the Walker Stadium, doesn't it? And Matty Fryatt has got both of those goals, his 6th double of the season. He's got 18 this season now, fantastic. And Scunthorpe have taken the lead against the Conference North side, Alfreton Town. First time in round 2 for Alfreton Town. They've not had an easy draw, and not an easy start either. Ben May breaching the visitors' defence on the half hour there, and in the Conference, Rushton taking the lead through Andy Burgess against Altrincham. Altrincham already down to 10 men. They've had a player sent off in that one. And in the FA Cup, Curzon Ashton, who are the smallest, the lowest ranked team left in the FA Cup, drawn away to Kidderminster, and they're down to 10 men as well, because David Carnell has been sent off for them in that game. It remains 0-0. Celtic can go 7 points clear at the top of the SPL today. They've taken the lead against Inverness Caledonian Thistle, and Sean Maloney is the man who has got that goal. They won 13 of their 15 games this season. The deadlock's been broken at Vicarage Road, where Doncaster Rovers looked the most likely to break the deadlock against Watford, didn't they, Scott?
They did, but it wasn't. It was Watford that's gone 1-0 up. Tommy Smith with the goal. Great play between Thomas Priskin and Joey McAnuff. Little 1-2s between them. And Thomas Priskin just played it right alongside the 18-yard box. There was Tommy Smith coming in for the left-hand side, just tapping it into an empty net. Against the run of play, Watford are 1-0 up.
Yeah, Tommy Smith scored consecutively in his last 4 games, and he's got 10 for the season now. St Johnstone have taken the lead in what's a local derby. Stephen Milne has scored for them at Dundee. It's his 8th goal of the season. I tell you what, Bolton could have been almost out of sight at the Stadium of Light. Chris Kamara.
They should have been, Jeff. They absolutely should have been. What Sunderland are doing now, they're trying to play football at the back, so they're getting caught out. John Almondeau was put through by Mwamba. Great opportunity. He went round goalkeeper Craig Gordon, who made a hasty decision to come out of his goal. But then when he's took the ball around him, he's kicked it too hard. So he's given himself a lot to do. He's wrapped his foot round it, but he's missed an open goal. Still 2-1 to Bolton.
West Bromwich Albion just 2 away goals so far this season. Can you understand why they've only scored twice away from home, Paul?
Well, definitely, Jeff. They had a corner. It was a great ball whipped in by Morrison, and Maite comes steaming in 6 yards out, gets above everybody, and heads this ball, and he heads it back to the corner taker. He must have a head shaped like a 50-pence piece, because it's impossible I can do it. It is absolutely impossible. When you sit on Football First, it's impossible. And at the other end, Heskey, great bit of play by Valencia, down the right, whips a ball in, Heskey in front of his marker, just headed wide. Still a good game, even Stevens at the moment.
Not sure about that 50p piece, looks like a 20p piece to me. Southend have taken the lead against Luton in the FA Cup, and it's Junior Stanislas, who's on loan from West Ham, who's got that goal. It's on his senior debut, and of course it's his first goal as well. Southend lost just 2 of the last 15 in all competitions. Let's go back to the game at the Riverside Stadium. It's Middlesbrough against Newcastle United. It is a local derby. It doesn't look as if it's got a sort of derby feeling and fervour about it and pace at the moment, Phil.
Exactly, Jeff. It's all that and more. It's extremely poor. The nearest we've been to a goal was a cross by Arkin. He's on the right, and with his left foot he bent it in towards the goal, hoping that Alves will get on it. But he doesn't look as though he really wants to get in there. Just a chance for Martins. He's turning. Oh, it's at the top of the crossbar. Ball's gone in there. It's the best chance of the game. Martin's there between penalty spots, edge of the box. He's swivelled on it and hit it. Not catching it correctly, but it's hit the top of the crossbar and gone over. But as I said, the chance before, bent in. It's one of them that it can just drift inside the far post. It just went the other side from Arkin. 0-0.
Bury, when he lost once away from home, it's the only League Two game today. The lead at Accrington by a goal to none. Mike Jones has got it, and on the sloping pitch at Coronation Park, Eastwood Town of the Northern Premier League lead Wycombe Wanderers. Let's hear about the goal. Here's Nick Johnson.
Yes, the Nottinghamshire Meadows giving a good account of themselves so far, taking a 34th minute lead through Lyndon Michael's superb curling effort from about 25 yards out. Keeper Scott Shearer left flat-footed. Is Eastwood 1, Wycombe 0.
Gary Harkins has got a second goal for Partick Thistle of the Scottish First Division against their second division opponents. The deadlock has been broken in the game at the City Ground. Big game this for Nottingham Forest. They're taking on Barnsley goalless, the last we heard. Here's news of the first goal from Alan McAnally.
And it's a big goal as well. Delighted for Colin Calderwood. 1-0 to Forest. A great move. First time, Jeff, to move the ball into Robert Earnshaw's feet. A little bit of control, a little bit of composure. Ball out to left-hand side. Joe Lynch crosses the ball, and Joe Garner timed his run to perfection. And a nice little header from inside the 6-yard box. 1-0 Forest.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest leading. Joe Garner's only his second goal, an injury-hit move from Carlisle United, where he was so successful. It's his first goal in front of his home fans as well. He's going to be feeling good about that. And how about Droylsden of the Conference North? They put Darlington out in the last round. Now they lead at Chesterfield of League Two by a goal to nil. And Carl Lamb is the man who's got the goal after 35 minutes. It's their first time in round two since 1978. Yes, Chesterfield Lambs to the slaughter. Actually, it's quite an appropriate name for a player who plays for Droylsden, who of course play at the Butcher's Arms as well. Let's go and hear about that goal, shall we, at Accrington Stanley's ground for Bury. Here's John Gwynn.
Yes, it was Andy Bishop who miscontrolled, Jeff, and the ball drifted out to the right. His persistence paid off in that he went after it, moved it inside onto his left foot, good cross to the far post, and there was Mike Jones heading home. Bury lead, 1-0.
Really good, really action-packed game at the Stadium of Light. Well, not good as far as Sunderland are concerned. Of course, they trail by 2-1. But Roy Keane will probably take some encouragement, Chris Kamara, that there do look to be holes in the Bolton defence.
They're certainly playing some good football going forward. At the back, they're taking chances and getting caught out, but a wonderful move just a few minutes ago, Jeff. Andy Reid with the ball up to Cisse. Cisse flicked it on to Kenwyne Jones. He waited and waited for Steve Malbranck to make his run, and then he laid him in. All he's got to do is try and hit the target. He's only about 10 yards out, and all he could do was screw it wide. Great opportunity, missed. Still 2-1.
Talking of mist, there is mist as well at the Britannia Stadium. Stoke 0, Hull City 0. Nicky Barmby's playing for Hull. Has he been involved at all yet, Matt?
He's been busy, Jeff, but Hull haven't really threatened anywhere near the Stoke's final third, or in their own final third, I should say. It's been a really poor game. We've had 3 Rory Delap throw-ins so far. Hull coping admirably with every one of them. This one just got a throw just now, and it's at a better angle. They go straight across. The other ones have been a little bit deep, and Delap is drying the ball as he does, giving himself every chance of getting enough purchase on this ball, getting the correct trajectory, and there's all sorts of fouls going on inside the box. Delap's still waiting for the throw to come in. This is Stoke's only chance, really, Jeff, because in open play they've been absolutely useless. And it's flicked on, and it's saved. Mile at the near post has saved it. I think it was Sidibe that flicked it on, but decent save by Myhill.
Airdrie 2 up against Cove Rangers. Simon Lynch has got the second goal. Bury 2 up against Accrington Stanley. Barry Murphy has got that. And Kidderminster in the FA Cup 1 up against 10-man Curzon Ashton. And Stephen Moore has got the goal. Formerly, of course, of Aston Villa. How are his old teammates doing? I wonder. Aston Villa against Fulham. Fulham was stubborn against Liverpool and proving stubborn again today, Charlie.
They are, but it was a bad miss there for Villa. And it was Sidwell, Jeff. You know, I was talking about Ashley Young and his service. Very good free kick. And it was bending in. It took everybody out. And Swartzer's actually going to try and collect it, Jeff. And from nowhere, Sidwell, 6 yards out in the middle of the goal, has headed it over the top. 0-0.
Roy Keane's 100th game in charge of Sunderland, but he will not feel like celebrating. Chris Kamara.
Oh, not at all, Jeff. You wouldn't believe it. I told you they're trying to play. The ball is in the air. It's coming out the sky towards Danny Collins. He's trying to control it, Jeff. It went through his legs. Elmandor, who was as surprised as anybody else, ran onto the loose ball. He's got Craig Gordon to beat. He's at a bit of a tight angle on the right-hand side of the pitch, but he threads it through the goalkeeper's legs. He's away, he's celebrating, and they're leading 3-1.
8 games without a goal, and now he's got 2 in 2. The £11 million Swede and Bolton absolutely flying. They lead by 3 goals to 1. Dundee United in the SPL, they lead at St Mirren by a goal to 0. John Daly with his 6th of the season. Clyde lead Montrose in the Scottish Cup. David Mackay has got that goal, and in the conference, cash-strapped Salisbury lead York by a goal to 0. Charlie Giffin has got the goal after 40 minutes. What's happening at Villa Park? Charlie Nicholas.
It was a good shot from Dempsey for Fulham, and it made Friedo, the record breaker, just touch over the top. As the corner comes in, it's just drifting the back post. Looks as if they've got rid of it. 0-0.
Wigan have gone close against West Brom. Paul Merson.
Yeah, and it was Ryan Taylor, free kick 25 yards out, Jeff, bent it round the wall, just bounced in front of Carson. Good save by Carson, put it out for a corner. The corner's being taken now, still 0-0.
No goals in that game. There are not too many games around at all in the Premier League at the moment, are there? In fact, just the goals at the stadium are like too many of them as far as Roy Keane is concerned. Sunderland 1, Bolton Wanderers 3 is the scoreline there, with goals from Almanda and Cahill, and Matty Taylor. Jubal Ceci had scored for Sunderland in that one. Burnley are thumping Derby at the moment in the Championship by 3 goals to 0. Bottom of the table, Nottingham Forest lead Barnsley by a goal to 0, and struggling Watford, they lead for their new manager Brendan Rodgers by a goal to 0. I'm hearing there's a penalty at Portman Road, Ipswich against Sheffield United. We'll tell you who's got it and whether they scored it when we come back in a couple of minutes.
Conquered the skies, conquered Mount Everest, conquered the neck. Philips Architect. Designed to follow the contours of your face with a pivoting and rotating head, so it helps you easily get a close shave, even on the neck.
Remember when you said girls had fleas? And you'd never get a computer? Remember when you swore you'd never love anyone else? All have kids. Remember when you said you'd never buy a Renault? The new Renault Megane. It's time to change.
Straight out.
Take a chance at a level crossing, and it's only a matter of time.
Better run.
Level crossings, please, don't run the risk.
Here come the goals. Aldridge 0, Rushton 2 in the Conference League. Tomlin hadn't scored in 22 games, has got 2 in 2. Just a teenager, of course, but one they think has got a big future. Simon Lynch has got 2. Airdrie League Cove Rangers 3-0 in the Scottish Cup. Norwich are in front at Sheffield Wednesday. We'll hear about the Sammy Clingan penalty in a moment. Darren Dahl of Ross County send off in the game against Dumbarton. Ipswich in front against Sheffield United. We mentioned that penalty. It was to the home side. Tommy Miller converted it. We'll hear about it in a second. Back in the FA Cup, Torquay lead Oxford United. Both conference sides, of course. Torquay unbeaten in 16 now, and Elliot Benyon's got their goal. Mansfield have equalised from Emil Sinclair at Weymouth on loan from Nottingham Forest, and Livingston have equalised through Liam Fox in their game at East Sterling. Off to Portman Road, first of all. Let's hear about Tommy Miller's penalty. Here's Tony Coddy.
It was a strange penalty, Jeff, because it was a cross from David Norris on the right-hand side. I think it hit Gary Naismith, but the players played on. The ball went into the box. Cunago fell over, but the linesman had his flag up for a long, long time, Jeff. He gave the penalty, not the referee, but there's no doubt about the penalty from Tommy Miller. Sent Paddy Kenny the wrong way. 1-0 Ipswich.
Norwich in front against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. Brian Beard.
Yeah, Leroy Leeton's shot was superbly saved by Marshall, but it fell to Wes Hoolan. He was about to take his shot when he was fouled by Tudgay. Referee, no hesitation in pointing to the spot. And then Sammy Clingan at warp factor 6 smacked the ball into the roof of the net. It's 1-0 to the visitors.
Sheffield Wednesday have lost 2 of the last 3 home games. They've only scored 1 goal as well, slightly worrying for them. Let's go back down to the Valley of the Championship game between Charlton, who won just 1 of the last 13 games, and Southampton. Latest from Johnny Phillips.
Yeah, Charlton really should be in front in this. They've just had the best chance of the match. They've had a succession of chances, actually, but this one came when Dion Burton, one of their new loan signings, put Hammer Boatza clear down the left-hand side. He had a clear one-on-one opportunity with Kelvin Davis, but his shot, although it was firm, was well saved by Davis. He pushed it round for a corner, so it's still 0-0.
Queen's Park Rangers haven't scored in the last 6 away games. I wonder if they've gone close at all against Crystal Palace. Here's Dickie Davis.
They've had a half chance, Jeff. Patrick Adjemang, it was, got down the right-hand side. He got past Jose Fonte, but he just pushed it a little bit too far. Julian Speroni managed to smother it at the other end. Paul Eiffel, fierce shot. Radek Cherney is near posted really well. Carl and Watson have also gone close to Palace, but still 0-0.
Burton Albion, who are top of the conference, 0-0 against Eastbourne Borough at the moment. When I say they're top of the conference, they're second from top of the conference. They're level on points with the leaders, but behind a goal difference. Salisbury lead York by a goal to 0. And in the Championship at half-time, it's Plymouth 0, Blackpool 0. Plymouth unbeaten in the last 4 games against a Blackpool side who have lost their last 4 games, but doing OK today. Let's go back off to the game between Aston Villa and Fulham, which I think probably hasn't been the greatest spectacle, Charlie.
No, it's not been good, but they've had 2 decent chances, Aston Villa, and Martin O'Neill looks very frustrated. But Hodgson, on the other hand, for Fulham, Jeff, they've passed the ball well, they've kept it, and they've had a couple of little opportunities to shoot, but it's not been a classic 0-0.
Another guffaw from Letitia. What happened, Matt?
It's got nothing to do with the game, Jeff, because that's rubbish. But Dean Windass has been warming up as a substitute. Rory Delap's got a throw-in. Dean Windass is deliberately warming up right in front of him so he can't take his long throw. Keith Stroud, the referee, has just come over and given me a yellow card. So Dean Windass not even on the pitch, and he's been yellow carded. I can feel sympathy for him because that happened to me once as well.
No goals at Villa Park. Aston Villa sitting in 4th place in the table, 9 points behind Chelsea, but it's 0-0 at present. Precious few chances, really, at half-time. Same story at the Riverside, where it's not been much of a derby so far, but a goal is scored. I think Joe Kinnear will be pretty satisfied with that, bearing in mind that, of course, it was 0-0 at Chelsea last week, and goalless as well at the JJB Stadium at half-time. Only 4 home goals this season. Just a little fog and mist around at the moment. West Bromwich Albion are bottom, of course, of the table at present, and they will be the happier of the 2 sides. Elsewhere, Millwall leading Aldershot by a goal to 0 at half-time in the second round of the FA Cup. Morecambe lead Cheltenham, of course. Morecambe of League 2, Cheltenham of League 1. It's Stelling Albion 0, Partick Thistle 2 in the Scottish Cup third round. The big guns come in the next round. Non-lead Droylsden lead at Chesterfield by a goal to 0. The deadlock broken in the last few seconds of the first half at the Britannia Stadium. Which way has it gone, Matt Letitia?
It's gone to Hull City, Jeff. It was a free kick driven into the box. Andy Griffin was booked for the free kick on Marnie in the first place. Ball drilled into the box, headed back down to King. Great touch from Marlon King. He's taken one touch with his right foot. He's swivelled and smashed it in the top corner from about 10 yards. Cracking finish. Hull's first real chance of the game.
It's their 15th away goal. Only Chelsea have scored more than that. Half-time and a very disappointing first 45 minutes for Craig Gordon. He's conceded 3 goals. Sunderland 1, Bolton 3. Don't think any of them were down to him, but certainly some of them were down to his defenders. Bolton absolutely flying at the moment, looking for a third successive away win. Gillingham 0, Stockport 0, Charlton 0, Southampton 0. Eastwood Town lead the League 2 leaders Wycombe by a goal to 0. No giant killing at Highbury. I'm relieved to say it was too close for comfort in the end, wasn't it? But Hartlepool have won by 3 goals to 2. 2 for Michael Mackay, 1 for Joe Porter. It's half-time in the game at the Britannia Stadium, and there's Marlon King, the man of the moment. His 4th goal, I beg your pardon, of the season. And Hull continue this run. They scored in every Premier League away game this season. Colchester 2 up at half-time. Cambridge have taken the lead against Ebbsfleet. And Scott Rendell, who's back at his old club, he's on loan from Peterborough, has got the goal that separates the sides there. Hamilton level at half-time against Kilmarnock in the SPL. Ipswich leads with Tommy Miller's penalty against Sheffield United. Scunthorpe lead Alfreton by a goal to the non-league Alfreton. There's confirmation of Hull's scoreline at half-time. No goals at Palace against QPR. Leicester 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 2. 2 for Matty Fright. Roscoe Desan of Torquay has been sent off in their FA Cup game against Oxford. They do lead by a goal to 0, but they'll play the whole of the second half with just 10 men in the Conference. Rushton lead by 2 goals to 0 at Altrincham. Leyton Orient lead by a goal to 0 at Bradford. 5 clean sheets on the bounce for them. Sterling in the Scottish Cup level against Livingston at the interval. Decent scoreline for the 3rd division side there. Cambridge United lead through that Scott Rendell goal at half-time against Ebbsfleet United. In the same division, it's Stevenage 0, Wrexham 0. Stevenage still not quite able to get into gear under Graham Westley, and they're languishing rather in mid-table at the moment. They lost to Histon and Burton in the last couple of games. That brings you bang up to date with the half-time. It's been a relatively quiet day all round, hasn't it? Let's check on the half-time scores. And as you can see, none of the home teams in the Premier League in front at the moment. Aston Villa have actually won just 2 of their last 6 home Premier League games against Sunderland and Blackburn, are being held today by a Fulham team who haven't won away from home. 0-0 there. 0-0 as well at the Riverside Stadium. Middlesbrough against Newcastle United. Newcastle without a win in 10 away games, but doing OK so far today. Hull in front just before half-time. Phil Brown's side taking the lead. A terrific goal from Marlon King. His 4th of the season. His 15th away goal for Hull. They really do go and have a go. They've only lost once away from home so far this season. Stoke have won their last 5 home games in all competitions, but they'll have to come from behind to do that today. Sunderland 1, Bolton Wanderers 3. Amazing game, really, up at the Stadium of Light with the goals from Matt Taylor and Cahill and Elmander from Bolton. This all after Jubal Ceci had put Sunderland in front after 11 minutes. Ceci's also had a goal harshly disallowed, and it's a very disappointing 100th game in charge so far for Roy Keane, his side. Up against it, and could be heading for a 6 defeat in 7 games. And Wigan 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. That maintains West Brom's unwanted record. They're the only Premier League side not to have been in front at half-time. It's goalless at the moment at the JJB. In the Championship, Burnley, what a great first 45 minutes there, warming up for Arsenal. Next week, 2 goals from Martin Paterson, who's now got 4 in his last 2 and 11 for the season. Kevin McDonald with his first Burnley goal, setting them on the way against a Derby side, only lost 3 of their last 17, but they need some second half, don't they? Clean sheet so far for Charlton. Phil Parkinson in charge as caretaker today against the Southampton side, looking to win their 3rd consecutive away game. It's goalless 2 at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Queen's Park Rangers. Rangers just 2 away goals. It's a paltry return, isn't it? Ipswich lead Sheffield United by a goal to 0. Tommy Miller penalty separating the 2 sides. Nottingham Forest lead Barnsley by a goal to 0. Forest rock bottom of the division and without a win in 7 home league games. It's their worst run since February 2004. But Joe Garner, his first goal in front of his home fans, has given them the advantage. No goals at home park. Plymouth against Blackpool. It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Norwich 1. Sheffield Wednesday's goals have dried up at home. Only 1 goal in the last 4 home games, and a Sammy Klingon penalty giving Norwich the advantage there. Watford, good start so far for Brendan Rodgers. Of course, everybody nicknames him Buck Rodgers. He's the new man in charge at Watford. Their 30th goal of the season has come from Tommy Smith. He's into double figures. He's scored in 4 consecutive games now. And poor old Doncaster Rovers, well, only 8 goals all season and only 1 in their last 6 matches. None today again, and it finished Wolves 1, Birmingham 1. Cameron Jerome, on as a substitute, took just a couple of minutes to make his mark and put Birmingham in front. But Sylvan Ebanks-Blake scored before the end, 15 minutes before the end, his 12th of the season. The gap between those 2 at the top of that division remains 6 points. In League 1, it's Northampton 0, Colchester 2. at half-time. Colchester, well, only scored 5 in 6 games, but 2 important goals today. Clive Platt and Paul Reed with his first goal for Colchester. He's come against his former club as well. And Walsall lead managerless Swindon by a goal to Michael Ricketts, who's got 10 for the season. Finding it hard to win at home normally, Walsall. They've actually lost 3 home games on the bounce, but ahead today. And in League Two, Bury a couple of goals up against Accrington Stanley. Mike Jones and Brian Barry Murphy with those goals. Stanley haven't scored in 5 of the last 8, and they haven't scored today either. In the FA Cup second round, I beg your pardon, in the first round, replay, this is a full-time score. Carlisle have beaten Grays by 2-0. David Graham got the first one of those goals. Danny Graham, I beg your pardon. Graham Kavanagh on loan from Sunderland with the second. Carlisle through to the second round. These are the second-round scores. Leyton Orient lead by a 0 at Bradford. Jason Demetriou has got that goal. They're looking for a 4th straight away win. Chesterfield 0, Droylsden 1. If you're looking for shocks, that could be one of them. The Conference North side in the second round for the first time since 1978. And Carl Lamb has got the goal that's given Chesterfield a deficit to overcome in the second half. Eastwood Town, another surprise here. Coronation Park with its slope. And the Conference North side lead by a 0 against Wickham. Peter Taylor's Wickham, who of course are unbeaten and top of League Two. Lyndon Michael, the man who got the goal for Eastwood, nicknamed the Badgers. Hartlepool have won at Fleetwood by 3-2. 2 for Michael Mackay in today because Kevin Kyle was ineligible and James Brown was injured. He's made the most of it. Joel Porter got the other Hartlepool goal, his 12th for the season. Andy Bell and Adam Warlow for Fleetwood Town, who gave a real good account of themselves. Forest Green 1, Rochdale 0. Plenty of surprises potentially around, aren't there? Forest Green of the conference lead Rochdale, and Jonathan Smith is the man who's got that goal. Forest Green have conceded 20 home goals this season, but Rochdale unable to breach them so far. It's Gillingham 0, Stockport County 0. Gillingham of League 2, of course, Stockport of League 1. Kidderminster lead the Uniborn Division 1 North side, Curzon Albion by a 0. Stephen Moore, the former Aston Villa player, got the goal. David Cornell sent off for Curzon Ashton in the first half, making things even more difficult for them. Leicester and Dagenham and Redbridge level at 2-2. Dagenham twice in front. Matt Ritchie on loan from Portsmouth got the first of those goals. Matty Fryatt equalised, and then Ben Strevens put Dagenham and Redbridge back ahead, but again Fryatt equalised, this time from the penalty spot. He's now got 9 in his last 9 games and 18 for the season. Millwall lead Aldershot by a 0. Gary Alexander got the goal that's put them in front. Morecambe lead Cheltenham by a 0. Rennie Howe has got 3 and 4 now. This one came from the penalty spot, and the League 2 side lead their League 1 opponents. It's Peterborough 0, Tranmere Rovers 0 at half-time, and Scunthorpe lead non-league Alfreton by a 0. Ben May, the man who got the goal that's put Scunthorpe in front. They've lost their last couple of games, actually, have Nigel Adkins' team. Southend lead Luton by a 0. Junior Stanislas has got the goal there, his first goal on his first senior start, so quite an occasion for him. And Torquay lead Oxford United, the battle of the conference sides there. Elliot Benyon has got the goal. Doesn't tell the whole story, though. Torquay unbeaten in 16, are down to 10 men. Roscoe Tassan sent off just before half-time. In the conference, Altrincham down to 10 men and 2-0 behind against Rushden and Diamonds. Andy Burgess got the first, and Lee Tomlin with the second. Rushden at the moment 1 place and 1 point above Altrincham in the league. It's been a disappointing season for them. Burton Albion sits second in the table. They're being held by Eastbourne Borough. It's goalless. Cambridge lead Ebbsfleet. Scott Rendell, who's on loan from Peterborough, returning to Cambridge. Cambridge sold it to Peterborough in the first place. They've now loaned him back, and he's on the score sheet today. Northwich Victoria 0. Crawley 0 as a half-time scorer as well. Salisbury lead York by a 0. Charlie Griffin is the man who got the goal for cash-strapped Salisbury. Lost 5 times at home already this season. It's the first game in charge at York, by the way, for Martin Foyle, the former Port Vale manager, who's replaced Colin Walker. Stevenage 0, Wrexham 0 at half-time, and Weymouth and Mansfield are level. Chris McPhee scoring the Weymouth goal. Emil Sinclair equalising for Mansfield Town. SPL looks like this. Aberdeen 0, Motherwell 0. 200th game in charge for Jimmy Calderwell at Aberdeen, the longest-serving manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. Celtic lead Inverness Caledonian Thistle, just the 1 goal to show for it, though, so far. Sean Maloney has got the goal that separates the two sides. It's Russell Latapi Day, by the way, at the Falkirk Stadium. 40 years of age, playing against his old club. He drinks and he smokes but he's still a darn good player, and he's hoping to go to the next World Cup as well. As 0-0 the scoreline there. Hamilton 0, Kilmarnock 0 at New Douglas Park. Hearts have beaten Rangers by 2-1. Zaliukas with the opening goal. Laria Kingston with a second. Rangers got a goal back. It was an own goal. Hearts had a player sent off, Lee Wallace, but they hung on for the victory, and that means that Celtic potentially could be 7 points clear at the top, and it's St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. John Daly is 6th of the season. Dundee United just 1 defeat in a dozen games. Just 1 game in the Scottish First Division, Derby as well. Stephen Milnes, 8th of the season, separates the side at Dens Park. St Johnstone looking to stretch their unbeaten run to 10. Scottish Cup third round, Airdrie 3-0 up against non-league Cove Rangers. No problems with them. Simon Lynch has got 2, Joe Cardle got the other. Queen's Park lead by a goal to 0 against the third division side Albion Rovers. Ian Watt, the scorer there. Stenhousemuir a couple of goals up at Grant Street against Clacknacudden. Scott Diella's got them both. He's got 9 for the season now. Clyde lead Montrose by a goal to 0. Devin Mackay has got that. No goals so far. East Fife are both. East Stirling, the third division side, level against Livingston. Eddie Forrest put them in front, but Livingston equalised through Liam Fox. And the games at Edinburgh City, Elgin, Forfar, Forest Mechanics, Inverurie and Lochee were all postponed. Peterhead trail Morton by a goal to 0. Steve Masterton is the man who got that. Wraith 0, Alloa 0. Ross County lead Dumbarton by a goal to 0. But they have had Darren Dahl sent off. Sean Higgins got the goal. And Partick Thistle are a couple of at Stirling Albion. Scott Chaplin and Gary Harkins the goal scorers. There are no shocks on the card so far in the third round of the Scottish Cup. Brings you back up to date. Back with more in just a couple of minutes.
It's not for us to deal with the details. It is for us to say that this deal is necessary for the stability of the system.
Thank you very much indeed. If you could go that way, please, sir. I think the BBC are waiting for you.
In spawn is Fred Claus.
You sure you wouldn't be more comfortable down here on the bottom?
I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, Willie. Now showing on Sky Box Office and Sky Box Office HD.
We're off to Deepdale a little later. The late game from the Championship. Preston, who've scored 13 in the last 6 games in decent form against the Bristol City side, who are leaking a lot of goals at the moment. They conceded 11 in the last 5. Rather unlike them, it's live on Sky Sports 1 and HD1 from 5:15. A bit murky there, isn't it? At the moment, that's the story around much of the country at the moment. If you're looking for FA Cup shocks, by the way, at the moment, I tell you, the non-league sides are quitting themselves very, very well at the moment. Conference North Droylsden lead at Division 2 Chesterfield at half-time by a goal to 0. Conference North Eastwood Town lead the League 2 leaders Wickham by a goal to 0. On the conference side, Forest Green lead Rochdale of League 2 by a goal to 0. 3 potential shocks on the cards after 45 minutes. goalless first 45 minutes, a bit of a disappointing 45 minutes as well for Aston Villa against a Fulham side who haven't won away from home. Any sign of any changes for the second half, Charlie?
No changes, Jeff. I think that's probably the right decision for Martin O'Neill especially. Didn't play particularly well. Ashley Young at times, when he got the service to him, was a big threat with his lovely crossing ability. Puts it in great areas. But they've created two very good chances. They really should be in front without playing that well. Fulham kept the ball pretty decent. So I think he can take his time before he decides and changes. If anything, tactical-wise, he's got to get a little bit more from James Milner. Just not quite got in the game. Even when he got the ball, Jeff, he's tucking inside and it's making it easier for Fulham. 0-0.
No goals in the first 45 minutes in the game between Wigan and West Brom. Wigan have started the second half quite brightly, though, Paul.
Yeah, very much so. Just as you come to me there, Jeff, it was a great ball by Catamol to Valencia. He got inside Robinson, but Robinson come back, and now Miller's in. Miller's one-on-one with a keeper. He shoots, he scores! And it's 1-0 West Brom, and I think it's a token mistake again. I might be wrong here by Bramble, but it's either Bramble or Boyce have made a major ricket. Miller's through, and he's scored, and it's 1-0.
It's only Ishmael Miller's third goal of the season. It's only the third away goal of the season for West Bromwich Albion. But my word, it puts them in a powerful position when you consider that Wigan have only scored 4 times at home all season long. On the bottom of the table side, West Bromwich Albion, 4 points off safety at the start of play today. But they have their noses in front. And I think it probably was Titus Bramble, was it, Paul?
Yeah,
nodding your head.
Titus Bramble.
Yeah, who's let Ishmael Miller in. But he has finished with aplomb. Let's go and find out what's happening in the early stages of the second half at the Riverside Stadium. Can only get better, I suppose, Phil Thompson.
Well, it should be. I was hoping there'd be some changes, but there isn't. I was hoping that there may be 11 aside changes. It might make a bit of a difference to this game, but it's 0-0, Jeff.
And there's confirmation of Ishmael Miller's goal after 47 minutes, just 2 minutes into the second half. It's a real uphill task, isn't it, as far as Wigan are concerned? And, of course, remember, this is the anniversary of Steve Bruce going there a year in charge. Not the way he planned to celebrate. Of course, Naomi Ozaki today in the starting lineup. Let's go and find out what's happening in the early stages of the second half. Nottingham Forest on their way to what could be an invaluable 3 points. They lead Barnsley by a goal to nil. Barnsley have been in decent form lately as well. The only goal of the first half coming from Joe Garner. Do Forest seem in control, you Alan McAnally?
Not really, Jeff. Only started a couple of minutes in the second. They're a very, very young team in the middle of the park. Perch, McGugan, Brendan Maloney. They've got a lot of inexperience, Jeff, and they make a lot of silly mistakes. They keep the ball well. I can understand what a lot of people would say to me when I arrived, you know, that we've played quite well, we just can't score. They do, but you've got to get the ball into the box. And when they scored the goal, it's the first time they got Earnshaw involved. Get it into wide areas and get it into the box and get support to it. Then they look good. Other than that, okay. But the main important thing is, of course, is 1-0 they lead.
James Scullion of Alloa sent off in their game at Wraith today. Wraith, top of the Scottish Second Division. Alloa languishing down towards the foot of the table. Bit of adventure being shown, well, by both sides, I suppose, at the Riverside Field.
Well, yeah, there has been, but it's Newcastle's just had a decent chance. Good work by Nzogbia. Passed it square along the D, and it's Danny Guthrie who's hit it low and hard, and it's just gone wide. I think both managers said, come on, we owe it to the fans. Folks starting to close in up here, and we owe it to them to put on a display. 0-0.
Eastwood Town being in terrific form in all competitions. They've won 7 of their previous 8 games, but they're exceeding all expectations at the moment. They lead Wycombe Wanderers. This is a Wycombe side unbeaten in League 2 all season. The only professional side in England unbeaten in league games this season. But at the moment, Eastwood lead by a goal to nil in the FA Cup second round. Are they heading for the third round, I wonder? Here's Nick Johnson.
Well, 2 minutes into this second half here in Nottinghamshire, and Eastwood certainly giving a very good account of themselves and going close before taking that 34th minute lead to Lyndon Michael. Wycombe really troubling the Eastwood defence, and it could be a shock on the cards this afternoon. It's Eastwood 1, Wycombe 0.
What about Rochdale trailing by a goal to nil at the conference side? Forest Green, Rochdale unbeaten in 9 league games, usually full of goals. Any sign of a Rochdale goal? Brian Seymour-Smith.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, they brought on Shaw in order to put a bit of strength into the strike force, but it's not making a lot of difference at the moment, Jeff. In fact, it could have gone the other way just before you came over to me, because Andy Mulligan had a great chance in front of goal, crossover from the right-hand side, And there was Mungan trying to get his boots in, but a good bit of defending by the Rochdale back four. Really exciting game. You really feel that the dream's alive here. It's Forest Green 1, Rochdale 0.
Hull leading. They took the lead just before half-time against Stoke. Marlon King, the goal scorer there. But the one thing you don't want to do is give away throw-ins, do you, Matt?
No, you certainly don't. First one of the second half. The lad fired it across, and it was Ricardo Fuller. Great header. Got up really well. Myhill got down really quick to his right-hand side and managed to push it out. Stoke's best chance of the game so far.
Poor Clayton of Alfreton sent off in their FA Cup second-round game at Scunthorpe. They're trailing by a goal to nil as well. And Sheffield Wednesday, as you can see, have equalised against Norwich City. Tony McMahon is the man who's got the goal 6 minutes into the second half. Poor old Norwich have conceded 14 in 6.5 games now, and they've only won 1 of their last 6. They were ahead with a Sammy Clingan penalty, but pegged back with that McMahon goal. It's his first senior goal. Let's go and hear what Paul Merson was shouting about. Good bits of goalkeeping, I think, Paul.
Well, Kirkland's kept Wigan in the game, Jeff. There was a flick on down the middle. Morrison was in, one-on-one with a keeper. He shot, and it's a great save by Kirkland with his feet to keep him in the game. Should have been 2-0, still 1-0.
Yeah, remains 1-0 in that game. Remains 1-0 with Hull leading Stoke. Let's go and see what effect Roy Keane's half-time team talk has had on Sunderland. They trail, remember, by 3-1 at home to Bolton. How are things looking at the moment, Chris Kamara?
Not a lot of response in the second half. He's changed Kieran Richardson and brought on Grant Ledbetter. But it's amazing talking to the fans at half-time saying how shocking they felt that their team was playing. Their team wasn't playing that bad, Jeff. They made some elementary mistakes, but they've been in this game. They've had chances and chances, as many chances as Bolton, not taking them, of course. Had one rubbed off when it was a decent chance. So they're feeling very subdued at the moment, and it's really quiet here at the Stadium of Light. And it's still 3-1.
Paul Kearney's got a second goal for Queen's Park against Albion Rovers. The Division 2 side looked like easing through to the 4th round of the Scottish Cup. Back to the City Ground where Nottingham Forest led Barnsley by a goal to nil. That Joe Garner goal is first in front of his own fans, separating the two sides. Latest comes from Alan McAnally.
Well, obviously it was an easier team top for Colin Calderwood because Forster started brilliant in the second half, Jeff. Maybe that goal because a lot of young players have given a bit more confidence. And Lewis McGugan, there's a chance for Earnshaw in the middle. Lewis McGugan cut inside in his right foot. A great shot, Jeff. I'm looking right behind it. Looks as going into the top corner and just hit the bar. So unlucky. Great stuff from McGugan. 1-0 Forest.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest still leading by a goal to nil. Let's go and see if there's any sign of a breakthrough in the game between Crystal Palace and Queen's Park Rangers. Latest news comes from Dickie Davis.
Oh, there should have been, Jeff. Nightmare start for Hyder Helgeson. He's on loan from Bolton. It's his first touch, a minute into his debut for them. He's clean through. The ball's come over the top, but the Palace defence have got it all wrong. Helgeson's got the goal gaping. Speroni came out and he shouldn't have. Somehow he contrived to put the chance wide. It's still 0-0.
Back to the Stadium of Light where Sunderland trailed by 3-1 against Bolton. I tell you what, it could have been worse, Chris Kamara.
It certainly could. A fantastic save by Craig Gordon. They've moved into top gear. Just taking a corner there, Jeff, which has just been cleared. They've moved into top gear because they were a quiet start to the second half. And Gavin McCann on the edge of the box, he's hit a screamer. And Craig Gordon, one that the goalkeepers like because he can see it all the way. Fingertips over the top of the crossbar. Still 3-1.
Bolton looking for a 4th win in 5 Premier League games. What an achievement that would be. Sheffield United have won the last couple of away games just as well because they've lost the last couple of home games. They're behind at half-time at Ipswich to a Tommy Miller penalty. Any sign of United getting back into this one? Here's Tony Cotty.
They're actually playing OK, Jeff. Just to clear up that penalty incident I said about, it was actually Matthew Kilgallen with the handball, which perhaps a harsh one, but it was given. But Sheffield United playing OK, just had the first chance of this second half. Billy Sharp with a cross on the right-hand side. He's playing well at the moment. It was James Beattie arriving round about the penalty spot, but he got right underneath it. It's only the final ball letting them down, Jeff. It's still 1-0.
Looks almost like game over, doesn't it, at half-time at Turf Moor. Burnley 3 up against Derby. Any glimmer of hope for Derby, Rob?
The only glimmer of hope, Jeff, is the icy fog that this is sending upon Turf Moor. Some of the Burnley fans a bit unhappy about that. They've just had a chance in the second half. Chris Eagles has just wrapped on almost a 4th for Burnley. Little back from Derby, remains 3-0.
Sterling Albion have got to go back in the game against Partick Thistle. Craig Malloy is the man who's got that goal. Thistle still lead by 2-1. And in the SPL, Hamilton have taken the lead against Kilmarnock. It's only their 14th goal of the season. Richard Offiong is the man who's got that. Hamilton 4 points out of a possible 36, and they've slipped to the bottom of the table. In the conference, Burton Albion lead by a goal to nil against Eastbourne Borough. And Greg Pearson is 11th of the season. It's come from the penalty spot, enough to separate the two sides. Let's go and find out what's happening in the game between Wigan and West Bromwich Albion. Another near miss, I think, Paul Merson.
Yeah, and it was Ryan Taylor again, a free kick, Jeff, just to the right of the goal, and he's right-footed. He's bent a great shot to the far post, tried to give the keeper the eyes, just past Carson's post, the wrong side. Still 0-0. Still 1-0, sorry, to West Brom. West Brom looked dangerous on the counter-attack.
Barry Hales has equalised in the FA Cup for Cheltenham against Morecambe. He's back at Cheltenham for another spell on loan from Leicester. They think he may well sign on a permanent basis in January. And as you can see in the League One game there, Northampton back in it against Colchester. Mike Jones.
Yeah, Liam Davis was fouled. Danny Jackman strode up and took the free kick. It took a wicked deflection, which beat Walker in the Colchester goal. It's Northampton 1, Colchester 2.
Back to the game at the Britannia Stadium. Hull taking the lead just before half-time, but Stoke really getting a bit of momentum in the second half, Matt.
Yeah, they've certainly been in the ascendancy, and Delap's had 3 or 4 long throws now. One from the other side this time. Real good pace on it, and it was Leon Court, found himself only about 8 yards out, but he went for the flick on, just got a little bit too much on it. Ball ended up on the roof of the net. Still 1-0 to Hull, but there's a little bit of life left in this game.
Sheffield Wednesday have come from behind. They lead Norwich by 2-1. Brian Beard.
Yeah, so Tony McMahon's headed equaliser. Leon Clark, a spin in the box, a right foot shot, not really usual for him, has put the home side back in this game, leading 2-1. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Norwich City 1.
Second goal, as you can see, at the New Lawn, where conference strugglers Forest Green look as if they could be about to cause an upset and reach the third round of the FA Cup. Brian Seymour Smith.
Well, believe it or not, Forest Green had survived 5 consecutive corners, including a clear off the line. Breakaway down the right-hand side. Josh Lowe into the penalty box. Just the keeper to beat. Chips over the top. 2-0. Forest Green 2, Rochdale 0.
Only his third goal came for Forest Green. He's on loan from Cheltenham. More catastrophic defending by Sunderland against Bolton. Chris Kamara.
You ain't kidding, Jeff. Absolutely unbelievable defending. He must have told him to play. Well, he did tell him to play, because I told you before the game, I read the programme notes, and they've tried to play at the back and giving stupid balls away. This time it's Phil Bardsley who gets caught in possession. Gavin McCann gives it to Kevin Nolan. Kevin Nolan strides through to the 18-yard box. He gives it to Almandur, and he's got time to pick his spot. He just looked up. You thought, you've got to hit it sometime, mate. Anyway, he did it eventually. He's whacked it with his left foot. Top corner. Craig Gordon, absolutely no chance whatsoever. 1-4.
A thoroughly humiliating afternoon for Sunderland, facing a 5th home Premier League defeat. It was their home form that kept them up last season. They're in big trouble now. Johan Almanda's got 3 in 2 games, and Ross County have doubled their advantage against Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup, and Sean Higgins has got them both. And you may have heard Steve Bruce singing the praises of Chris Kirkland a little earlier in the programme. Well, it's a good job that Kirkland's been on his mettle. West Brom might have been out of sight, Paul.
Very much so, Jeff. Great goalkeeping again. I said they're dangerous on the counter-attack. Right into the ball just coming in. Good save. They broke. Greening got the ball. He put Brunt in. Brunt wanted to get on his left foot. He had to come back on his right, and he hit it, and it was a great save by Kirkland. He's kept them in the game here. They should be out of sight, West Brom, but it's down to Kirkland, and again he's cleared it. Still 1-0.
Third Division East, Sterling lead League One. Livingston now by 2-1, and Brian Graham has got 4 goals in his last 3 games, 7 for the season now, and East Sterling going really, really well. Let's go and find out what's happening in the game at the Riverside Stadium. Have the home side managed to get up ahead of steam at all?
They are. They're just doing it, Jeff. They're just starting to put a bit of pressure on Newcastle. Newcastle can't get out at the moment. Alves had a great chance, fashioned for himself on the edge of the box. Good shot. I thought this got a chance of a goal here, but it's a great block. And I just say, Sebastian Masson playing at the back for Newcastle. Fantastic display. I've not seen him play at the back before as a centre-back. Stephen Taylor's fit on the bench. This boy's been fantastic today.
Basson played at Chelsea last week, and I think was really impressive there as well. Are Aston Villa going to find a way past the Fulham defence and Mark Schwarzer, I wondered? Charlie Nicholas.
Well, they're knocking at the door, Jeff. It's all Villa at the moment, and it was actually Young again down the left, running at Panzo where he wants to be, gets in the box and just try to take it to his left with his quick feet. Good defending, but again 2 or 3 set plays. Ashley Young, beautiful delivery, and there's another one coming in from Barry this time, and Schwarzer's under some pressure. They're all round him. They're keeping the pressure on again. Ashley Young again, and he's really taking it. Again, Schwarzer's come out and punched it, Jeff, and it's actually went behind him and just over his own bar, and he's given another corner under some pressure. 0-0.
Yeah, he's been unhappy as well. Thinks he's getting a bit of a battering at the moment. Wrexham have scored. Jefferson Lewis has got the goal, and I think there might be a goal to tell you about the JGB, Paul Merson.
And it's 1-1, Jeff, and it's Camera, and what a mistake by Robinson. Bramble made a mistake for Wigan. Now Robinson's done the same. He's tried to head it back to the keeper. It's just a long free kick. It's smashed up. It's won on by Heskey. It's bounced, and Robinson's got to head it back to the keeper. And there was Camera to get in with an overhead kick. Good finish, but what a mistake by Robinson. And it's 1-1.
It was an athletic finish from Camera, who scored 2 goals in 2 games now. Back in the conference, Burton Albion have got a second goal against Eastbourne Borough. Craig Armstrong adding to the goal from Greg Pearson, and Leicester are back in front. Well, actually, in front for the first time against Dagenham and Redbridge in the FA Cup. Twice they've trailed in that game, but now they lead by 3 goals to, and Matty Fryatt has completed his hat-trick in 55 minutes. What a season he's having. 19 goals Fryatt has got for Dagenham and Redbridge, and Bradford have just equalised against Leyton Orient. First goal the Leyton Orient have conceded in 6 games. And Michael Boulding, part of a veteran strike force for Bradford City, he's 32, Peter Thorne is 35, Barry Conlon is 30. He hasn't stopped them though, has he? He's got his 7th goal of the season. Bradford level against Leyton Orient. Let's go to a goalless game and see if we can find a goal. It's the game that we're watching between Charlton and Southampton. 0-0 the last we heard. Who's going to break this deadlock if it's going to be broken? Johnny Phillips.
Well, Southampton are having the better opportunities in this second half, having been completely outplayed in the first half. Andrew Sermons had a glancing header just wide. Bradley Wright-Phillips from the edge of the 6-yard box scuffed his shot. And a few moments ago, Adam Lallana broke out of midfield and from 20 yards tried his luck, but his shot dribbled wide. So certainly the away team getting back into it, but no sign of a goal.
Aberdeen lead by 1-0 against Motherwell. Remember, this is the 200th game in charge for Jimmy Calderwood. Their home form has been problematical. Only 2 home wins, but Gary McDonald has got the goal that's put them in front. And how about this for bad luck? Droylsden of the Conference North leading by 1-0 at Chesterfield, but that game has been abandoned due to fog. So Chesterfield live to fight another day. There's been another goal in the game at Hillsborough. Good game this, Sheffield Wednesday up against Norwich City. Wednesday had edged in front the last we heard. Here's Brian Beard.
Yeah, it's a good game, Jeff. You can see it, the fog is coming down, but it hasn't dimmed Norwich City. They've come back into the game. Leroy Leiter, strength in the box, out-muscling Mark Beavers. Right foot cross shot, 2-2.
2-2 Leroy Leiter. It's his 6th goal of his loan spell from Reading. It's his first, though, away from home. Albion Rovers have got back into their Scottish Cup tie against Queen's Park. They trail by 2-1 now, and Robert Barr's got his 9th goal of the season. Just beginning to warm up at the Riverside and the home side, beginning to get the upper hand, possibly, Phil.
Yeah, they are, but Newcastle just had a chance, and it was Martins. You know, he's like that, Jeff. He doesn't need to get a run at the ball or anything. Could be underneath his feet. He's 25 yards out, right in the centre of the goal. Hits a great shot with power. Takes a deflection and went inches wide of the post. Best chance yet for Newcastle. 0-0.
Wigan back on level terms against West Bromwich Albion, and very much with the upper hand now, Paul.
Oh, it's a right good game, this, Jeff. It is. It's a long ball flicked on by Heskey. Camera's in the box. He's just going to have a shot, and there was Olsen with a great block, but it's end-to-end, Jeff. Kumas is on for Brown, and it's end-to-end, 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 the scoreline there at the moment. Then the games with goals. Stoke 0, Hull City 1. Marlon King with the goal that separates the two sides there. Bolton leads Sunderland by 4-1. Wigan are level against West Bromwich Albion, and the way things stand at present, Sunderland will be in the relegation zone of the Premier League this evening. We're back with more in a couple of minutes.
Live tomorrow.
It's a good day for football, man.
We're gonna be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party.
3 matches starting at 6 p.m. with New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Sky Sports 2.
Rex, come on. Let's take the shortcut. Rex, come on.
Look at the time. Oh, I'm gonna miss the news. Gotta go and get some shut-eye. I'm off. When my head hits the pillow, I'm straight out.
Take a chance at a level crossing, and it's only a matter of time.
Mum's expecting me. Better run.
Level crossings, please, don't run the risk.
If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do.
Did you know that if men regularly exceed 3 to 4 units a day, it could add up to a serious health problem? Units, they all add up.
We Own the Night is now showing on Sky Movies Premiere HD. Get closer to the action and see the film in stunning high definition. So stay in and go to the movies. Sky Movies.
Stenhousemuir out of side against Clacton and they lead by 3-0. Gary Hooper's got his 12th of the season and Scunthorpe lead non-league. Alfred are down to 10 by 2-0. What's the worst thing that could happen if you're a Stoke City fan? That's right, Rory Delap could get injured, Matt.
And he's actually back on his feet, Jeff, but he was struggling with his groin for a little bit there. It was a great chance for Stoke. Ricky Fuller has fed Michael Tong, who's just on as a substitute. Oh, and just as I talked, Marnie's had a shot, and Sorensen's actually saved it quite well. But Tong has come on a sub for Swords, and he's just squared the ball across the face of goal. Rory Delap comes sliding in at the far post, just caught his knee in the ground, and it just jarred him a little bit. Looked like he's just opened his groin up a little bit, but he's back playing now and he's OK, so Stoke fans can breathe a sigh of relief.
Morecambe against Cheltenham in the FA Cup has also been abandoned after 65 minutes due to fog. So 2 matches off now. Newcastle have made a change. Mark Viduka on against his old club, but it's Middlesbrough who are calling the tune at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I'll come back to that, Jeff, because Alves just a great run down the left-hand side, goes onto his favourite right foot. Colaccini can't stop him. Edge of the box, and he's ballooned it over the bar. He should have at least hit the target. Great chance. Martins has gone off. And he's not a happy bunny, Jeff, and rightly so, because he's been the better one. He's been better than Michael Owens. He should have been still on the pitch. He's come off, shook hands with Mark Viduka, and looked at the bench, done that, and gone straight down the tunnel. 0-0.
In the conference, 10-man Altrincham in big trouble. Curtis Asano has got a 3rd goal for Rushton and Diamonds. That should wrap up the points. And Stevenage have equalised against Wrexham. Callum Willock is the man who's got that goal. And in the Championship, the deadlock finally broken at Home Park, where Plymouth are playing Blackpool. Tony Colliver.
Yes, there's goal to the home side. Paul Gallagher turning shot from just inside the box. Literally flew into the bottom right-hand corner of the net. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 0.
Well, Paul Gallagher is having a good season for Plymouth, isn't he? He's got 7 goals this season on loan from Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn have got trouble scoring themselves, haven't they? Maybe they might consider recalling him at some stage. Morton, who lead by a goal to nil at Peterhead, have had Peter Weatherson sent off in that game, so they'll play the rest of it with 10 men. Now, the last we saw, Mark Schwarzer was pretty much under siege in the Fulham goal against Aston Villa. Is that still the case, Charlie?
Yeah, not to such an extent. We had about 5 corners all, within a space of 5 minutes, Jeff, but it's kind of eased down a little bit. They are still firing on the crosses, but they're coming from an easier angle for the goalkeeper. He still feels as if he's getting bombarded every time he comes for the ball, but he's kept to his decision making, which is he's going to come and go for it, and so far it's been good. It's 0-0.
Lee Miller's penalty has put Aberdeen 2-0 up at Pittodrie against Motherwell. To make matters worse, as far as Motherwell are concerned, they've had Paul Quinn sent off for a so-called professional foul in that game. Motherwell just 1 goal in the last 5 games now. It looks like Curzon Ashton's dream is over. It was always going to be an uphill task when they were reduced to 10 men in the first half. Kidderminster, the conference side, have just got a 2nd goal. Stephen Moore scored the first. Mark Crichton has got the 2nd goal. Of course, Kidderminster, the last non-league side to reach the last 16 of the FA Cup. That was back in 1994. May not go that far this time round, but certainly enjoying a decent little run. Let's go and see what's happening in the game between Wigan and West Brom. Hard to call, 1 apiece. The scoreline here, real good game. The last we heard, it's still good, Paul?
It's a good game, Jeff. Very good game, end to end. This is anybody's game. West Brom are playing very well. They look the better team at the moment, and they've had a couple of attacks and put some good crosses in, but it's still 1-1. Ryan Taylor's just gone off. Melchior's come on. He just walked straight down the tunnel. Disrespectful to Steve Bruce. Straight down the tunnel. Still 1-1.
Thanks very much. Falkirk have just taken the lead against Hibs, and Darren Barr is the man who's got that goal, and Mark Schwartz has just had an amazing let-off at Villa Park, Charlie.
Yeah, again, I mean, good build-up play from Villa. Petrov fed it left to Ashley Young, and Barry got in the box. He's actually done that very well today, him and Sidwell. He gets in there, Jeff, middle of goal, 7 yards out, easy header. He's headed it down, and Schwartz is actually taken by surprise. He's palmed it back out, and it's fired up, hit the bar, and gone to safety. An amazing piece of luck. Still 0-0.
Scottish Cup East Fife have just taken the lead against Arbroath, and Stephen Crawford is the man who has got that goal. Let's go back to the Stadium of Light, which I would imagine what, not quite 4:30 is probably emptying pretty quickly, is it, Chris?
Yeah, it is, Jeff. I mean, you know, it's never over till it's over, but this is over, if you know what I mean. There's no way back for Sunderland. Bolton just camping out on the edge of their own penalty box, and just a blanket defence, no way through for Sunderland. Still 1-4.
It's never over till it's over, but this is over. They trail by 4-1. Roy Keane's reaction is going to be interesting after that game, isn't it? Watford leading by a goal to nil against Doncaster Rovers. This Doncaster side just can't score goals. 8 goals all season long. It's unthinkable. 1 in the last half a dozen games. Any sign of Doncaster snatching an equaliser? Scott Minto.
Not really, to be honest, Jeff, and no sign of Watford scoring a second either. There's been no chances in the second half. There weren't that many in the first. I think Brendan Rodgers would probably just be delighted to try and get the 3 points behind him if he can do that. At the moment, I wouldn't say they're exactly hanging on in there because they're controlling the game in midfield, but no chances either end.
Yeah, it doesn't sound the greatest of games, does it? Let's go and find out how things are going in the game between Nottingham Forest and Barnsley. Forest leading by a goal to remember they haven't won in 7 home league games, so it would be understandable if Forest were getting a bit edgy. Are they getting edgy, Alan McAnally?
Yeah, a little bit possibly, Jeff. They know that that's finishing line's getting ever closer, but to be fair, down this left-hand side with Tyson and Joe Lynch, there have been plenty of profitable moves for them down that side, and they're not hanging on. They've got plenty of the ball, but there was one great chance for Barnsley. Anderson de Silva, the ball dropped perfect for him for a volley. It looked like it was going to the corner, and Lee Camp made a great save to keep the score. 1-0 Forest.
Back to the game at the Riverside Stadium. Mark Viduka on for his first appearance of the season, and he almost made an immediate impact.
He certainly did. Ball in by Danny Guthrie. Michael Owen just heads it down about 7 or 8 yards out for Viduka. He gets over the ball, volleys it. Great defender by Poggett. That's too often we see people turn in the back. He's gone, and he's done it for the team. Caught it in the chest. Gone for a corner kick. Good defender, 0-0.
Fifth goal at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich was all square the last week. Who has got their noses in front? Here's Brian Beard.
Marcus Tudgay has put the home noses in front. Superb goal. Cross from Tony McMahon. Franny Jeff has missed it, but at the most acutest of angles, a cute header from Tudgay. 3-2 Wednesday.
He's got 2 and 2, 6 for the season. He's gone 8 without a goal. Let's go back to Villa Park where, well, there's been swathes of Aston Villa attacks. Any response from Fulham, Charlie?
No, we had a half-decent build-up, and it was Zamora who had to delay his shot, Jeff, because Villa got bodies back. He was trying to feed in Andy Johnson, who just sneaked up the left side. As he did, Simon Davis went beyond him. He tried to feed him in, and his cross was a poor one. They haven't really got much going forward. Zamora and Andy Johnson trying everything to hold it up, to link up play. But they're so deep at the moment because Villa are bombarding them. Chance after chance, but they can't take them.
Something about Hull City on the road, isn't it? Just 1 away defeat. They've managed to score 15 away goals. They have a pretty giant back four today against Stoke City. Do they look like they're going to hold on, Matt?
They certainly do. That giant back four has been very impressive today, dealing with the aerial bombardment that's come their way. McShane, Ricketts, the fullbacks have been really good. Zati and Turner have been excellent. Ricky Fuller's hardly had a sniff in the game the whole game, and Hull have just made a substitution though, Jeff. Hal Mosey's on for Barnby. He was looking a little bit ineffective, but Hull are looking a good value for this 1-0 win at the minute.
Thanks very much indeed. Wigan won, West Bromwich Albion won. West Brom, who lost 6 of the last 7 games. I suppose you could forgive West Brom if they were going to sit back and just try and hold on for the point. Is that what they're doing at the moment?
No, Jeff, they're absolutely going for it. Every time they get a chance to break, they're pushing forward. They got a corner now. It's a great ball just now. Greening just didn't have the pace to get away from Figueroa, but it's even game, Jeff. But West Brom have got a corner. It's 1-0.
Last time we went to Vicarage Road, Scott Minto told us that neither side looked like scoring, so there has been a goal, Scott.
Exactly, yeah, it's gone to Doncaster. Steve Brooker, who's come on as a substitute just about 5 or 10 minutes ago, must be his first touch of the ball. Great run down the right. I think it was Richie Wellens who did it. Whipped the ball in. Steve Brooker wanted it more than any of the Watford defenders. It's 1-1.
Steve Brooker on loan from Bristol City. Peterhead 1, Morton 1. David Ross has got that. There's a penalty. Who to, Matt Le Tissier?
It's gone to Stoke. Keith Stroud has pointed to the spot. Ricky Fuller has gone through. Just a flick on. Knocked it past the keeper. Bose Miles come out, he's taken him down. I've got no... Yeah, there he goes. He's touched... Yeah, he's touched Fuller. I think Keith Stroud is absolutely right. Given the penalty. Absolutely spot on.
Back for it in just a second or two. Is there a better keeper than Chris Kirkland when he's fit, Paul Merson?
Well, I'm a big fan of David James, but I've been so impressed with Kirkland today. There's a corner here, whipped in, 6 yards out, Olsen comes steaming in, free header. What a save, Kirkland, what a save. You know, he is proving he's putting a chance. It's 1-1.
Penalty about to be taken by Ricardo Fuller. Remember, they trailed by a goal to 0 to Stoke against Hull City. So this is a big moment, Matt.
It certainly is. Keith Stroud blows a whistle. Ricky Fuller, right-footed. Little shimmy, up he steps. Oh, and it's gone in, but the keeper's got his hand to it. Myhill will be disappointed. He really should have saved it. Got a good hand to it, but it's gone in 1-0.
Yeah, it certainly has, and he should have saved it. It's his 6th goal of the season. It's come from the penalty spot, and Middlesbrough just beginning to cause Newcastle some problems. Alves probably in particular, Phil.
Yeah, they are. There's just been 3 players gone for the one ball, about 7 yards out. But we just had really the best save of the match from Shea Given. Good ball by Ali Adair, pulls it back 7 yards out. Hoytu's up there, inside right position, and he doesn't hit it hard enough. But Shea Given makes a great save. Best save of the game, 0-0.
Have Fulham weathered the storm at Villa Park, Charlie Nicholas?
Yeah, they've just eased back into the game again, Jeff. With Zamora linking up with Johnson. They're trying to really stretch it, but they just don't know where to defend. They don't want to go too deep because of the pace of Villa's threatening them. But they're hanging in just now. It's 0-0.
Mikel-Antoine Courier's 6th goal of the season at Dens Park, and Dundee level against St Johnstone. They've won the last 2 under Jockey Scott, is back for a 3rd spell in charge of Dundee, and Antoine Courier has levelled them up in that derby match against St Johnstone. Let's go and see if there's any sign of a Sheffield United equaliser against Ipswich at Portman Road. Tony Cotty.
Well, Ipswich have had the most chances, Jeff. John Stead's had a couple. Maurice Fox had a good effort as well, saved by Paddy Kenny. But the best chance of this second half did actually fall for Sheffield United. Brian Howard with the corner. Matt Kilgallen with the header at the near post. He wheeled away, Jeff. He thought he'd scored. Brilliant reflex save from Richard White. Still 1-0.
Thanks very much indeed. So in the Premier League at the moment, Stoke and Hull City are level at 1 apiece. Wigan and West Brom are level at 1 apiece. The only side leading in the Premier League at the moment are Bolton, and they are comprehensively doing so at the Stadium of Light, where they lead by 4 goals to 1. Down in the Championship, of course, the top 2 have already played today. It finished 1-1. Reading don't play today, but Burnley in 5th place and making up ground. They lead Derby County by 3 goals. And if you're looking for cup shocks, poor old Droylsden, they led at Chesterfield, but that game has been abandoned. Eastwood Town, though, they still lead Wycombe by a goal to 0, and Forest Green of the Conference, they lead League 2 Rochdale by 2 goals to 0, so there could still be a couple of big upsets on the cards today. We're back with more in just a couple of minutes.
Conquered the skies, conquered Mount Everest, conquered the neck. Philips Architect. Designed to follow the contours of your face with a pivoting and rotating head, so it helps you easily get a close shave, even on the neck.
Your large one this time. I can't believe it's only Monday. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. You are a mind reader. Great. How are you? Top up? Oh, lovely. We haven't had a good catch-up in ages. No.
Getting down all right?
Yeah.
Cheers.
At last the weekend, eh?
Did you know that if women regularly exceed 2 to 3 units a day, it could add up to a serious health problem? Units, they all add up.
These are the scenes at Deepdale where they've had a look. Concern over the fog, of course, there, but it doesn't look too bad at the moment, does it? Of course, TV cameras always make that situation look a little better than it probably is. Anyway, the inspection has been passed, so Preston against Bristol City goes ahead as planned at the moment. 5:15, Sky Sports 1 and HD1. Millwall have got a second. Gary Alexander's got them both. It looks like they're going through to the third round of the FA Cup. Jamie Clark on loan from Blackburn Rovers has got to go back for Accrington Stanley against Bury. And as you can see, Blackpool are back level, and it's a debut goal for Liam Dickinson of Blackpool. Here's Tony Colliver.
Yes, it was a defensive slip in the Plymouth penalty area, meaning that Liam Dickinson from close range hit a right-footed shot, which gave the keeper no chance whatsoever. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 1.
Got half a dozen goals, of course, when he was on loan at Huddersfield from Derby. This is his first game of a new loan spell. Clacknacutt 0, Stenhousemuir 4 in the Scottish FA Cup. Scott DL has got a hat-trick now. Ross County 2, Dumbarton 1. Derek Carkery has got to go back for Dumbarton. Still a little while to play in that game. 2-1 the scoreline there. And Aston Villa, I think Martin O'Neill might think it's going to be one of those days. Another chance has come and gone, Charlie.
It has, Jeff. It was actually a poor cross from Quayla. Swartz taking it. It was his easiest catch of the day. Dropped it, and Barry pressurised him. He wanted a corner. And from the corner, near post, excuse me, near post header, glancing header, didn't get enough on it, Jeff. Still 0-0.
Mickey Spillane has equalised for Luton at Southend. Luton, of course, of League 2. Southend flying relatively high in League 1 in the top 10 of the table. That would be a good result for Mick Harford's side, of course, at the bottom of League 2. Another great save from Chris Kirkland, keeping Wigan on level terms against West Brom, Paul.
Great save. It was a corner for West Brom. It got headed out to the edge of the box of Greening. As he ran onto it, he drilled it through a crowd of players, and another good save by Kirkland that got cleared. How they're not winning this, West Brom, they'll never know. It's still 1-1.
Who looks the most likely to win at the Britannia Stadium, Matt Le Tissier?
Well, Stoke have certainly been in the ascendancy, Jeff, but Phil Brown's tried to do something about that because he's just thrown on Daniel Kuzan and taken off George Boateng. Really positive move for me. Excellent, I think. And Giovanni just now cutting from the right-hand side, got the ball on his left foot, struck it really well, just gone over the bar.
Bit of an argument over who's going to take a free kick for Middlesbrough against Newcastle, Phil.
Not off. Alves was on it, Downing's on it, Mido's gone, I'm taking it. It's only just come on as substitute. But he's tried it, or they'll all have a go at him now because it was a dreadful free kick. It was straight into the wall and cleared. Still 0-0, Jeff. 2
goals for Liam Dickinson in the space of a couple of minutes, and Blackpool lead Plymouth now by 2-1. York have equalised at Salisbury. Richard Brodie is the man who's got the goal. Northwich Victoria have fallen behind against Crawley. Steve Fletcher is the man who's got the goal. Crawley were top of that division. Now they're 8 points adrift. Partick Thistle have got a third against Stirling Albion. Liam Buchanan has got that goal. And Norwich's John Kennedy has been sent off in their game at Sheffield Wednesday, and they trail by 3-2 as well. Let's hear about an excellent couple of minutes then for Liam Dickinson. Here's Tony Colliver.
He's only been on a few minutes as a substitute. He's got 2 goals across from the far side by Carl Reid, but the ball fell kindly through to Liam Dickinson. He slotted home from close range. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 2.
Colin Nish has got an equalising goal. 8 minutes from time to rather ruin Falkirk's day. They're led by a goal to nil. Falkirk 1 defeat in 7 games. Been in very decent form recently. Can Barnsley scramble their way back into it against the bottom club Nottingham Forest? Alan McAnally.
Your timing was always perfect there, Jeff, because a diving header in the box almost ended up with a Barnsley player put in the back of the net, and Wes Morgan got his foot in just in time. It looks as though, with the possession I've had today, maybe 1-0 might be enough for Forest, Jeff, but boy, it's close.
Another chance at the Riverside Stadium, but this time to Newcastle.
It's for Newcastle, inside left position, and Zogbia. He's going in, he's just got his head down, Jeff. Going looking for goal. If he just squares it to Michael Owen, he's free on the penalty spot. Doesn't see it. That's why this game's goalless. Nobody has got that knack for the final pass.
Eastwood Town, the Badgers of the Conference North. Can they put out Wycombe Wanderers in the second round of the FA Cup to go in amongst the big boys, to go in with the Manchester Uniteds and the Liverpools and the Chelseas and the Arsenals? Well, they're getting mighty close. Nick Johnson.
Yes, Eastwood have to hold on for around 8 minutes to progress through to the next round in this second half. We've seen the Eastwood keeper Shane Redmond save from Spence and from Phillips, but Eastwood themselves going close to a second through Lyndon Michael on the break. And last few tenth minutes here in Nottinghamshire, it's Eastwood 1, Wycombe 0.
Forest Green can be a little more confident. They're 2 goals to the good against League 2 Rochdale. Forest Green looking comfortable, Brian Seymour-Smith.
It's been a bit close, Jeff. We've been counting down the minutes. Mark Jones for Rochdale had an effort over the bar. McCardle also went close. Lafondra had an effort disallowed a bit earlier on as well. So it's all been hard stopping stuff. Brilliant defending, it has to be seen. It's led by Forest Green. We're all looking at our watches, but it's still Forest Green 2, Rochdale 0.
Are Charlton going to manage their first win in 10 games? Goalless at the moment against Southampton. Johnny Phillips.
They've hardly had a chance in this second half, Jeff. It's been all Southampton. Bradley Wright-Phillips is just being substituted now. He's had the best chances. The first, after good work from Rudy Scatchell and Andrew Sermon when he shot straight at Nicky Weaver. And then Lallana put him clean through a few moments ago, but he took his shot a bit too early. He was a good 25 yards out when he could have taken a few more strides. So a wasted opportunity there. It's still 0-0.
Patrick Clark's got his 5th goal in 3 games and Clyde 2 up against Montrose, and what a senior debut it's been for Junior Stanislas. Put Southend in front, and immediately they're being paid back by Luton. He scored his 2nd senior goal. It's a day he will remember for a long, long, long time. Not sure it's a day that Crystal Palace or Queen's Park Rangers fans will remember for too long, though. Dickie Davis.
Yeah, not wrong, Jeff. Very, very few chances in the game. QPR had the better the second half. They've been much better this half. Dexter Blackstock's done really well to lob one onto the roof of the net. Ephraim's had a shot that's been deflected over. QPR have had the better of the chances, but it's a pretty poor game. 0-0.
2 in a couple of minutes with Derek Carkery, and Dumbarton are level against Ross County, and Scunthorpe are going through to the next round. And Gary Hooper, who'd had a little mini drought, hadn't scored in 3 previous games, has now got 2 this afternoon, 13 for the season, and Scunthorpe have won by 3 goals to 0. And there has been a 3rd goal in the game at the JJB Stadium. We said West Bromwich Albion, would they sit back and hold what they'd got? No, they went for it. And now they paid the price, Paul.
And it's 2-1, and it's a goal by Emerson Boyce, and what a header, Jeff. It gets whipped out, and it's a great header from the penalty spot, top corner. But, Jeff, the corner come from a major mistake by Carson. It was headed back to him. He let the ball slip through his hands, went out for a corner, and Emerson Boyce has scored with a great header. It's 2-1 to Wigan.
And if the West Brom defence ignored him, you couldn't blame them, because he'd gone 97 Premier League games before today without scoring a goal. His first goal at the 98th attempt, Torquay down to 10 men, but it's not going to stop them going through to the next round. You would imagine they lead Oxford by 2 goals to 0, and Elliot Benyon has got both of those goals, and it's just not going to happen for Aston Villa. Charlie Nicholas.
No, they still keep bombarding them with crosses. Sidwell with a header is glanced over, and just before that again was another header coming in from Gareth Barry. They've knocked on that door, but they can't open it.
Yeah, they continue to batter on the door. Still hard to call the Britannia Stadium, isn't it? Stoke City, remember, won more home league games than Arsenal or Chelsea, won 5 home games on the bounce. Are they going to snatch a winner late on against Hull? Matt Letitia.
Still in the balance, Jeff. Hull is still going forward whenever they get a chance. This is by no means one-way traffic. We've just had a yellow for Salif Dia for a bad tackle on Zayati. Could go anywhere. We've got 5 minutes to go.
That's 3 meetings between these two sides have ended 1-1, and that's the way it is at the moment. Joe Kinnear has his hands crossed to the moment. He must be pretty satisfied the way things have gone at the Riverside today, though. Middlesbrough continue to press, Phil.
Yeah, they are depressing, but I'll tell you what, they've been very good. For so long we've had a go at Newcastle about the defending, but in Colaccini and Bassong they've been fantastic. No.
Off to the Stadium of Light. It's never over till it's over, but is it over now, Chris?
Over, Jeff, and it's been over since I told you. Look at the North Stand behind me. There's hardly any Sunderland fans in there now. They've been going home in their droves, and the players are just playing out time, Jeff. 4-1, I think it'll stay that way.
Thought he'd gone home as well. Anyway, it's a terrible, terrible day for Sunderland. 5th home Premier League defeat this season. An absolute shocker for them. Fantastic for Bolton, though. Heading for a 3rd consecutive Premier League away win, and they've won 4 out of 5 games. Absolutely terrific for them. Now, Nottingham Forest going to hang on to a victory which could lift them off the foot of the Championship table. Here's Alan McAnally.
Well, they could, Jeff. I've not got much time to go, Jeff, to be honest. There's hardly been a chance since you last spoke to me. Lots of play in the middle of the park, but that final ball in the final third simply hasn't been there the last 20 minutes. 1 might just be enough for Forest off the bottom. Good news for Colin Calderwood.
Yeah, it would be enough at the moment, because Doncaster are drawing down there at Watford, 1 apiece to the scoreline there. Sterling Albion have got a goal back. They trail by 3 goals to 2 now against Partick Thistle. Paul Murphy is the man who's got that Airdrie through comfortably at the expense of the Highland League side, Cove Rangers. And Dundee United in the SPL, they've got a 2nd goal. Looks like they're on their way to another victory, having a very good season indeed. John Daly, having scored the first, has got the 2nd. And Craig Levine's side, it's going to be 1 defeat in 13 for them. And St Mirren can't score goals, only 2 in 7 games. Rushden have got a 4th, a 2nd for Andy Burgess in the conference. They're absolutely cruising it at Altrincham. Haven't scored many goals this season, only 5 in 7 league games. before today. They put that right, haven't they? Now then, what can West Brom do about a 2-1 deficit? They're heading for a 7th defeat in 8 games. Not long left, Paul Merson.
No, it's 3 minutes of injury time, Jeff. Bentner's on, Luke Moore's on. They've gone from a 4-5-1 to a 4-3-3. They've got 3 minutes to try and get a point here. Still 2-1.
Ashley Grimes with a 3rd goal for Millwall. That's killed Aldershot off. Gary Alexander got the other 2. Back to the game between Stoke and Hull. Both sides still going for this. Matt Letizia.
Yeah, they certainly are. Stoke with the chance this time. It was Sidibe with left foot, 20 yards out. Slipped a little bit as he struck it, took the pace out of it a little bit. Mayo still needed 2 chances to get hold of it, but saved it in the end.
Thanks very much indeed. Let's go back to the game at the Riverside Stadium. Middlesbrough has lost one of the last 6 Premier League games. They'll have been desperately hoping for 3 points against Newcastle United, but Newcastle have a terrific record there over the years in the Premier League, and it looks like they're going to foil them again today. Has this got 0-0 written all over it now, Phil?
Yeah, it has now, and it's amazing. Alves just had a moment before about Mido, who took a free kick, wasn't happy, had a strop, he's just had his chance, just as bad as Mido's. 0-0.
Peter Head have come from behind. Martin Babbage has got the goal. It's his 7th of the season, gives them the advantage over Morton, who are aside from a league above them. Aston Villa 0, Fulham 0. Fulham went, they got a goalless draw at Liverpool, didn't they? Looks like they're going to do the same as well. Is it a case of going through the motions now, Charlie?
Yeah, there's about 30 seconds left of the added on time, Jeff, and they've just knocked it. They're taking the sting out of the game, Fulham, and this looks like a 0-0.
Ipswich leading for a long time against Sheffield United through Tommy Miller, but there's been a twist right at the death. Tony Coddy.
Yeah, Sheffield United scored, Jeff. James Beattie with a goal from the penalty spot. It was actually his shot. It was blocked by Shumuli Koski, I think his name is. He handballed it, definite handball, Jeff. He took the penalty really well. 1-1.
He's got 6 in 6, 9 for the season. Just a point for Aston Villa today. It's a goalless draw for them, not what they would have wanted. Brad Friedel with his 167th consecutive appearance, a new Premier League record, and his defence is not breached today. East 5 2-0 up now against Arbroath. Craig O'Reilly's got that. Southend have got a 3rd. James Walker against Luton. They're going to go through. And Eastwood Town are going to go through as well. To tell you why, here's Nick Johnson.
Yes, incredibly, Eastwood getting a 2nd goal just the dying moments here. It was Andy Todd who broke into the area and squared the ball to substitute Peter Knox, who had only been on the field a minute or so, and he turned the ball into the unguarded net. The seconds ticking away here. Eastwood 2, Wickham 0.
Well, it's a very famous victory, isn't it, for Paul Cox's side. They're going to be through to the 3rd round, and nobody will want to go there, and beating a high-flying side in Wickham Wanderers as well. Walsall have got a 2nd against Swindon. Alex Nichols has got that. Should wrap up the points. Burton have beaten Eastbourne Borough. Any final fling, I wonder, at the Riverside, Phil Thompson?
The Duke has just had a chance. Great work by Gutierrez, pulling the ball back, just couldn't get enough on it. And there was a save by Ross Turnbull.
Swindon have quickly got a goal back in that game. It's come from Billy Painter, but they haven't won in 6, and it looks like it's going to be no wins in 7. Aberdeen have beaten Motherwell by 2-0. Dundee United have won again, 1 defeat in 13 for them. They won at St Mirren. East 5 have beaten Arbroath in the Scottish Cup, and it's finished all square at the Falkirk Stadium, and it is all over as well. JJB and Wigan have come from behind. Chris Kirkland, the hero, has made a string of superlative saves in Wigan's 2-1 win over West Brom. Ishmael Miller beat him, but then goals from Kamara and Boyce, a rare goal for Boyce, have given Wigan the points. Back-to-back wins for the first time in Steve Bruce's year in charge. But Kirkland, the star of the show as well. Let's go straight back to the City Ground where Nottingham Forest were holding on narrowly against Barnsley. Alan McAnally.
Holding on, they were holding their breath and their heart as well, Jeff. Campbell Rice on the right-hand side, crossed over, flick onto the back post, and everybody sees Stephen Foster on his own with the keeper to beat. Header from just about 6 yards and hit the crossbar in behind. Oh boy, 1-0 Forest.
Sheffield Wednesday have beaten Norwich. Salisbury and York have drawn, and Hull going for the victory. But not going to get it from that sort of corner, Matt Letizia.
That was a shocking. Dean Marney with the corner from the right. It's 4 minutes injury time just been held up. They've got a corner. It's a decent chance. He's smashed it so far it's gone over everyone's head. Gone out for a throw in the other side. Rubbish corner.
Scunthorpe have got a 4 through Togwell against Alfred, and it's all over at the Riverside. Mark Paducah had a chance when he came on against his former club. First appearance of the season, of course, back after injury. 0-0 it has finished. Roy Keane, very unhappy indeed. His 100th game in charge and one of the worst. They've lost at home by 4-1 against Bolton. Much of the damage self-inflicted as his defenders have had an absolutely shocking day. And Johan Elmander with 2 goals and Gary Cahill and Matt Taylor, they've taken full advantage. Bolton 3 away wins on the trot. They've won 4 of their last 5, but for Sunderland, it's 5 home defeats this season. Now, they lost 6 of their last 7 games in all competition, and the faithful at the Stadium of Light bitterly disappointed. Not many of them left, of course, at the end. Partick Thistle are through to the next round of the Scottish Cup. They've won at Sterling by 3-2. Celtic, narrow win for them, but it's good enough. They've won by a goal to nil. Sean Maloney was the man who got their 7 points clear. Rangers at the top. Millwall have beaten Aldershot by 3-0. They're through. Ross County 2, Dumbarton 2. 2 late Derek Carkery goals. They're still playing at the... No, they're not playing at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest have won. First time in 8 home league games. They've beaten Barnsley by a goal to nil. Joe Garner was the man who got that goal. They're still playing, though, I think, at Villa Park. Let's go and find out what's happening. Aston Villa against Fulham. No, it's all over in that game. I do beg your pardon. It's all over in that game. No goals to score there, because we saw Brad Friedel a moment or two ago. There were 4 minutes of added time to be played, though, in the game at the Britannia Stadium. Stoke against Hull City. I wonder if there's going to be a final opportunity for either team. Matt?
Well, it was a Rory Delap throw again just now, Jeff, and Hull have defended them really, really well today, and they did exactly the same there. Still about a minute to go here. But it's looking like it may be petering out to a draw.
Southend through to the third round of the FA Cup. They've beaten Luton by 3-1. Sterling have put out First Division Livingston. What a run they are having at the moment. It's finished Ipswich 1, Sheffield United 1. Gillingham and Stockport will need to replay after a goalless draw. Scunthorpe have settled for 4 against Alfred, and had a player send off 2 goals for Gary Hooper there. Hamilton have won after, 12 games without a victory. 4 points out of 36, but they've won today. They've beaten Kilmarnock by a goal to nil. Walsall have beaten Swindon by 2-1 in League One. And Colchester won away at Northampton, only Northampton's third home to beat in 23 games in the conference. Cambridge have beaten Ebbsfleet. Scott Rendell back there on loan from Peterborough. Leighton Orient have won at Bradford by 2-1 at Valley Parade. Eastwood Town are through. Terrific win for the non-league side. It's a terrific piece of giant killing. The Northern Premier League side on their slopey pitch at Coronation Park. Paul Cox's team, Lyndon Michael and Peter Knox, and they've put out Wickham Wanderers, who are top of League Two, but have not enjoyed their excursion in the FA Cup today. And a very famous day for Eastwood. They beat Brackley in the first round, but they've done it the hard way today in beating league opposition. Congratulations to all concerned in that. Charlton 0, Southampton 0. So Southampton is, well, 3 games on the road unbeaten for them. They might have been hoping for all 3 points. So Charlton, 1 win in 14 and none in 10. At least it's a clean sheet for them. Albion Rovers 1, Queen's Park 2. Has gone with the form book in the Scottish Cup there. Queen's Park, of course, higher division than Albion Rovers, who sit in the Scottish Third Division. Queen's Park in the second. Kidderminster through at the expense of what was the lowest ranked team left in the FA Cup, Curzon Ashton. They had a player sent off in the first half, and Kidderminster of the conference have won by 2-0. They go to the third round as well. Stephen Moore and Crichton, the goal scorers for them. Leicester have beaten plucky Dagenham and Redbridge by 3-2. A hat-trick from Matty Fry. 19 goals for the season, 10 in his last 9 games. Dagenham Redbridge led twice but couldn't hold on. It is all over at the Britannia Stadium. The 2 new boys, Stoke City and Hull City, honours even for them. Goal from Marlon King just before half-time. Terrific goal as well. It's 4th of the season, putting Hull in front. Their 15th away goal. Stoke equalising through a penalty from Ricardo Fuller. That's the way it finished. If you were picking faults in Hull's form, you'd say it's no win in 6, but they are still picking up the points, and another point towards safety for Stoke City, as well as the 4th consecutive time that games between these two have ended 1-1. That's the way it's finished there at the Britannia Stadium. Elsewhere in the, well, only 2 winners in the Premier League. Bolton, who've won by 4-1, and Wigan, who've won by 2-1. They're still playing in the game between Watford and Doncaster Rovers, I understand. Let's have an update from Scott Minto.
Well, we've had the 4 minutes of injury time, just waiting for the referee to blow the whistle. I think everybody is. It's been a really poor game, to be honest, but since the goal, Doncaster's goal that is, it's been all them. They've been more likely to score. I think the Watford fans being very restless. Brendan Rodgers has a lot of work to do. Just waiting for the final whistle, Jeff.
Yeah, might have a lot of work to do, but, of course, new man in charge. They've scored 30 goals, which is fantastic this season, but they conceded 34, which is now the worst defence in that particular division. A point for Doncaster Rovers would be OK, wouldn't it? It is full-time in that game now. Watford stretched their unbeaten run to 3. Doncaster Rovers, despite that point, will drop back to the bottom of the Championship because Nottingham Forest have won today. Here's a classified check with Alan Lambourne.
The Barclays Premier League. Aston Villa 0, Fulham 0. Middlesbrough 0, Newcastle United 0. Stoke City 1, Hull City 1. Sunderland 1, Bolton Wanderers 4. Wigan Athletic 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. The Coca-Cola Championship. Burnley 3, Derby County 0. Charlton Athletic 0, Southampton 0. Crystal Palace 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Ipswich Town 1, Sheffield United 1. Nottingham Forest 1, Barnsley 0. Plymouth Argyle 1, Blackpool 2. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Norwich City 2. Watford 1, Doncaster Rovers 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Birmingham City 1. Coca-Cola League 1. Northampton Town 1, Colchester United 2. Walsall 2, Swindon Town 1. League 2, Accrington Stanley 1, Bury 2. The FA Cup, sponsored by Eon, first round replay, Grays Athletic 0, Carlisle United 2. The second round, Bradford City 1, Leyton Orient 2. Chesterfield and Droylsden abandoned at half-time, Chesterfield 0, Droylsden 1 at that stage. Result is void. Eastwood Town 2, Wycombe Wanderers 0. Fleetwood Town 2, Hartlepool United 3. Forest Green Rovers 2, Rochdale 0. Gillingham 0, Stockport County 0. Kidderminster Harriers 2, Curzon Ashton 0. Leicester City 3, Dagenham Redbridge 2. Millwall 3, Aldershot Town 0. Morecambe 1, Cheltenham Town 1, although the match was abandoned after 65 minutes. Peterborough United 0, Tranmere Rovers 0. Scunthorpe United 4, Alfreton Town 0. Southend United 3, Luton Town 1. Torquay United 2, Oxford United 0. The Blue Square Premier League. Altrincham 0, Rushden and Diamonds 4. Burton Albion 2, Eastbourne Borough 0. Cambridge United 1, Ebbsfleet United 0. Northwood Victoria 0, Crawley Town 1. Salisbury City 1, York City 1. Stevenage Borough 1, Wrexham 2. Weymouth 1, Mansfield Town 1. The Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League. Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 0. Celtic 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Falkirk 1, Hibernian 1. Hamilton Academical 1, Kilmarnock 0. Heart of Midlothian 2, Rangers 1. St Mirren 0, Dundee United 2. The Iron Brew Scottish League Championship First Division, Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1. The Homecoming Scottish Cup Third Round. Airdrie United 3, Cove Rangers 0. Albion Rovers 1, Queen's Park 2. Clachnacudin 0, Stenhousemuir 5. Clyde 2, Montrose 0. East Fife 2, Arbroath 0. East Stirlingshire 2, Livingston 1. The following matches postponed: Poor Weather, Edinburgh City and Brecon City, Elgin City and Spartans, Forth Athletic and Stranraer, Forest Mechanics and Dalbeattie Star, Inverurie Locos and Vale of Leithen, and Lochie United and Ayr United. These did play: Peterhead 2, Morton 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Alloa Athletic 0, Ross County 2, Dumbarton 2, Stirling Albion 2, Partick Thistle 3. And the Principality Building Society Welsh Premier League. Aberystwyth Town 3, Carnarvon Town 1, Airbus UK Broughton 1, Port Talbot Town 1, Caesus 2, the New Saints 6, Carmarthen Town 1, Prestatyn Town 0, Gap Connors Quay 3, Newtown 3, Haverfordwest County 4, Portmaddock 2, and lastly, Rill 7, Technogroup Welshpool Town 1.
Giant-killing stories today. Conference North Eastwood Town beating the League Two leaders Wycombe to go through to the third round of the FA Cup. The conference side Forest Green also through. They've beaten League Two Rochdale. Of course, last night, Barrow, another conference side, beat Brentford of League Two. So well done to all of them, and commiserations to Droylsden, who led by 1-0 at Chesterfield of League Two, only for the game to be abandoned due to fog. Still, they live to fight another day. Of course, the third round draw with all the big guns takes place tomorrow. Let's take a look at the top of the Premier League. Not much change. in truth. In fact, no change. Aston Villa just edge a little closer, but a disappointing result for them today in the goalless draw with Fulham. They stay 4th. Hull stay 6th after their draw. Look at Bolton up to 7th place. They've won 4 of their last 5. That's a move from 12th up to 7th, and surely Gary Megson is winning the Bolton fans round now. Fulham are 8th. Wigan in the top half of the table after back-to-back victories. They have 19, so too do Everton. Down at the bottom, West Brom and Blackburn joined by Sunderland in the relegation places, beaten today. Newcastle just keep their heads above water. They move up 1 after their draw away at Middlesbrough. They have 15, the same as Spurs. Then West Ham and Manchester City on 17, Stoke on 18. As you were at the top of the Championship, Wolves and Birmingham drew today. 1-1 draw. Of course, Reading don't play until Monday. Burnley close the gap and move up 1 as well. They have 33 points. Sheffield United with a last gasp equaliser at Ipswich are on 32. Then come Cardiff on 29. Plymouth and Queen's Park Rangers just outside the playoff places. And then a clutch of clubs on 28. Down at the bottom, Doncaster Rovers picked up a good point away to Watford, but find themselves dropping 1 because Nottingham Forest have won at home against Barnsley. They're 15 and 16 respectively. Charlton stay in the relegation places on 17, and then a little gap to Norwich and Watford on 20, Southampton to have 21. This is League One. Just a couple of games took place today, of course. Colchester and Walsall winning their particular games. What it means is that Walsall are up 1 from 11th to 10th in the top half of League One. And Colchester, who started the day 5th from bottom, have moved up 4 places. They're in 16th now on 21 points. This is how League Two looks. Bury have had a dreadful run, but look to be over it now, don't they? They beat Gillingham last week. They won again today. They're up to 6th in the table on 31 points. And Accrington and Stanley figure in the other end. There they are in 16th place. Here's the conference. Burton Albion take over at the top. They're 3 points clear of Histon in 2nd place in the table on 40. Histon play Leeds at home tomorrow. They're a semi-professional outfit as well, so they've had an absolutely phenomenal season. Torquay played in the Cup today. They're 3rd on 38. Cambridge 37. Kidderminster 36. Crawley move up a couple of places. They have 35 and are just outside the playoff places. Down at the bottom, Lewis on 14. Grays and Northwich Victoria both on 15. Forest Green, giant killers today in the FA Cup, but they're in the relegation places in the conference, 4th from bottom on 19. Woking just outside. Eastbourne, Borough and Mansfield both have 21. The SPL does not look good if you're a Rangers supporter this evening, does it? 7 points the gap. Beaten at Hearts today, while Celtic were edging out Inverness, Caledonian and Thistle. Hearts 7 points further back in 3rd place on 29. Dundee United also winners today. Down at the bottom, St Mirren are the new team at the foot of the table. Hamilton have climbed off the bottom after their win over Kilmarnock today. They have 12 and 14 respectively, and then a clutch of sides on 17, including Motherwell, who dropped to 3rd from bottom. And the Scottish First Division, Dundee and St Johnstone played a draw today, so St Johnstone 4 points clear at the top of the table. Dundee move up 1 from 3rd to from bottom to 4th from bottom. Fulham are making a habit, aren't they, of going to high-flying clubs and rather spoiling their day. They did it at Liverpool, they went to Anfield and got a goalless draw. They've been at Villa Park today, they got a goalless draw as well. Let's hear from the Fulham manager, Roy Hodgson. He's with Gary Weaver.
Roy, how pleased are you to take a point here today?
Yeah, very satisfied, of course. You know, we knew that we were coming to an informed team, a team that's, you know, deservedly in the top 4 of the Premiership at this point in time, playing extremely well, and we knew we'd have to be at our best, not least of all at our best defensively, if we were going to get anything from the game. So to come away with a point, and I thought after the first half performance, you know, we deserved certainly to be 0-0 at half time. We were under more of a siege in the second half, but I thought the team stood firm, and you know, I don't think we need to apologise too much for having come away with a point.
Were you concerned at times by that siege? The balls were flying into the penalty area in that second half.
Yeah, they were, but they were coming in from quite deep angles on the crosses. You know, we thought we did quite well to stop them getting into really dangerous crossing positions for the best part of the game. We couldn't stop the ball being played back and fired in. But, you know, we've got a good back four, we've got a good goalkeeper, and most of the time I wasn't so concerned. I was more concerned with the wide free kicks. I thought there was one or two wide free kicks in particular, very well struck, where we rode our luck a little bit. But to be fair, I think that, you know, if you're going to come here and get a good result at Villa Park, you're going to need a little bit of luck, and you're going to need to accept that the opponents are going to have one or two goal chances during the course of the game.
You're playing such a settled side. How important is that?
It is important. I'm very pleased that we've got through the game again. We had an injury to Dempsey in the first half, but he wanted to continue and was able to continue. It is important, I think, to have a settled side, especially seeing as this is a side which has been put together in the summer. You know, we have half the team, which helped us stay in the league, but another half is a group of new players, and to be honest, it takes a few months before players can settle down and get to know each other and form the type of partnerships that you want your centre-backs having, that you want your centre-forwards having, etc., etc.
Well, it's a good point for Fulham, but astonishingly, still only 2 away goals in their 7 Premier League games on the road at the moment. 0-0 the scoreline there. Another game that ended in a draw was the big clash in the Championship. The early kick-off between Wolves and Birmingham finished 1 apiece. It means that Wolves stay 6 points clear of Birmingham. Let's hear from Mick McCarthy, the Wolves manager. He's with Greg Whelan.
Mick, a great battle today. Should you have won it in the end?
Well, because of the way the game finished, it looked like we could have, perhaps should have, but they had some good chances as well. They had their spell in the game. I think the first half was quite even, not a great deal in it. Second half, they started better than us. Cameron Jerome got in behind us a couple of times, but at the end of it, we were the team that were pushing for the win. You might think that should be the case with the home side, but we had legs left and we had some good chances near the end to win it.
In a high-pressure contest like this, what was your assessment of the overall performance?
Not great first half. I don't think we passed it as well as we could. It looked like a high-pressure game when we weren't as comfortable in possession as we generally are. Second half, I thought we were terrific. After the start, we got off to a bad start, and then we got the ball down and passed it. And like I said, reality is that we were the team that were pushing to win it near the end.
This was also going to be a stern test of the character of your players, of a young side. How well do you feel they responded overall? I
thought they were terrific. You know, the test is when you have a difficult start and then have a difficult start in the second half, you could crumble. They didn't. As I've said, we were stronger at the end.
After they scored, you made changes almost straight away. What impact do you feel they had on the outcome?
A really positive impact, and the substitute bench is just that. They have to come on and do something, not come on and make up the numbers. And I thought Sam Boats was terrific, as was Keogh, and he's playing wide right for me. He's not a right winger, and he did a great job because he's got legs. And I thought Dave Edwards did, because he's got pace and power from the middle of the park. They all contributed, and you know what, they've done it each and every week. I've asked it of them. So if you can get the subs to come on and do well, that's great.
Sylvain Ebeng with his 12th goal of the season. Chris Iwaluma has got 15, and hence the reason they're 6 points clear at the top. Cameron Jerome, having said that, 5 in 6 league appearances now for Birmingham against Wolves. Just a reminder of those Cup giant killers today. Eastwood Town beating Wickham of League 2, and Forest Green beating Rochdale of League 2, and last night Barrow beating Brentford of League 2, and you can hear the FA Cup third round draw tomorrow if your side is still in it. 2:15 the time of that draw on Sky Sports News. Let's tell you about tonight. Choice of viewing next. Preston North End against Bristol City is live on Sky Sports 1 at HD1. Soccer Saturday will continue on Sky Sports News. And just a reminder that Football First is back this evening. Game of the day is Sunderland against Bolton. It's not the game of the day if you're a Sunderland fan. Sky Sports 1 at 8:25. And, of course, all the other games available by the red button at 10:15 on our match choice. Must feel good being a Bolton Wanderers supporter at the moment, which isn't something you can always say, is it? They've scored 4 away from home for the first time in 3 years. They've won 3 consecutive away Premier League games, and they've now won 4 of their last 5 matches. They sit 7th in the Premier League table. Let's hear from their manager, Gary Megson. Here he is with Guy Havard.
You're pretty chuffed at the moment, aren't you?
Certainly pleased with that. You know, to come away from home to you know, a football club like Sunderland and get a 4-1 result, so, you know, a big thing for us. the overall game. I didn't think we set off as well as we would have liked. Gave them the lead, but from that point our response was excellent, and we've scored 4 goals away from home, which is a big, as I say, a big thing for us.
Did you sense it was a good time to come here?
Good, bad, indifferent doesn't make any difference really to ourselves. There's still a good football club with some excellent players. That result was everything to do with how well Bolton have played, and not a huge amount from our point of view with the way that Sunderland have played. There's nothing we can do about that. So there's no good or bad time to go anywhere. I think that's the first time in 2 or 3 years that this football club's gone away and won three away games on the trot. So whatever's gone on at any of those football clubs, nothing to do with us.
And you're rising up the table as well. What do you put this down to, this sort of solidity and success, particularly on the road?
Well, there's not one thing that you can say we've done any differently. The only thing that we're doing now is we've added goals to the way that we've been playing, and nothing else. Even when we weren't winning games, I was quite confident that if we could start scoring goals, we would pick up the results, because we look quite solid at the back. We've got excellent goalkeeper. The work ethic of every one of them, the honesty of every one of them is you've seen it. And that's been there throughout the season. So all we've been missing is scoring the odd goal, and hence we can get better results now.
4th away win of the season for Bolton, who only won twice away all of last season. It's been a very good day, a very good start of the season for them. Not the case for Sunderland, though. This was Roy Keane's 100th game in charge. It wasn't how he'd have envisaged it turning out. Let's hear from the Sunderland manager now, also talking with Guy.
Roy, how would you describe Sunderland's performance today?
Very poor. Again, individual mistakes have cost us with 3 out of the 4 goals, and obviously very hard one to take again.
Particularly in defence, it seemed to spread, didn't it, the lack of confidence and the errors?
Yeah, of course, especially when we conceded the goals we did. I've said many times before, if teams open us up and score good goals, and you hold your hand up, but we're giving teams a helping hand, and maybe then one or two of the players maybe lost a bit of confidence, particularly in the second half. But they kept going, and I was pleased with that side of it.
Are you angry with them overall?
No, it's very hard to be angry at individual mistakes, because the players who've made the mistakes have been very good for me over the last 2.5 years. So, but it's just the last 3 or 4 weeks now, particularly at home, the goals we're giving away are very poor, and in the Premiership, you can't get away with that. And as I said, we had some decent